The heart of your teams, the heart of Michigan. Bally Sports Detroit, the heart of the fan.
At the tip of Macomb County on Metro Detroit's east side, you will find the village of Romeo. Since 1838, it has stood a classic slice of Americana, with Main Street serving as the head of the community. On this Friday night, we visit Romeo's heart. Bulldog football has taken over the town as Romeo welcomes 8th-ranked Chippewa Valley to Barnabo Stadium. And we can't wait for this one. Football Fridays on Bally Sports Detroit, presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Southfield, Michigan. I'm Johnny Kane, joined alongside by my partner, Rob Rubick. We had every intention of being live on site from Romeo High School tonight, but there was an accident earlier today involving our production truck. We are pleased to report no injuries sustained in that accident, except to some of our equipment. So we're calling this game remotely. And we're ready for it.
I'm energized. I just spent the last hour getting energized with Johnny Kane going through our notes. I'm ready. So
we're ready to roll.
Us.
The show goes on. Hey, you grew up in Lapeer, lived in Lapeer. You've been to Romeo. What's so special about Romeo?
Okay, before we get to the football, apple orchards, peach orchards, great downtown, a couple microbreweries I kind of like a little bit. But it's just a really neat community. You don't see that all over the state. Sometimes you get these suburbia teams, like you look at Eisenhower and Dakota in this conference. They don't really have the community feeling like a Romeo does. And there's no better place in Romeo than a Friday night out at the stadium.
Yeah, they'll be out barking tonight for those Bulldogs. Hey, if you want to get to where you want to go, a lot of times in Division I, you got to go through that MAC Red Conference. A very tough league. Both of these programs have had success in their past. And again, take a look at the MAC Red standings, how tough it is once again this year.
Well, it's a gauntlet. I mean, you look at, there's not many weeks you get off. Even you look at down the bottom side with Anchor Bay and Stevenson. Those are two good high school football teams. But in this conference, they're at the bottom of the pack. And Romeo, tonight, this game with Chip Valley will help determine who wins the MAC. And there's one right down the street as well, Johnny, with Dakota and Eisenhower will also have a huge impact.
Yeah, we'll be looking in on that game throughout tonight. So again, a couple of big games that will have some lingering effects as far as postseason implications. So let's look at these two teams again. Chip Valley and Dakota, similar teams. How do you see this one?
Well, they're both pretty balanced teams, and I think when you look at Chip Valley, what it starts with is how balanced they are on the offensive side of the football. You have Andrew Schuster, who's got a big-time arm. He's the third in the line of the Schuster quarterbacks coming through Chip Valley for Scott Merchant. And he's got a premier receiver, the fastest kid in the state in Division I, Shamar Hurd. He won the 100 and 200. What a weapon to have. But what Romeo's going to do is they create a lot of problems up front, Johnny, with Mark Goedge and Braden Merjavani. These are two physical, aggressive defensive linemen. Not the biggest, but very aggressive. They get in the backfield, they get in the gaps, they can create some negative plays, which really helps this Romeo defense because they're going to need it tonight against a good offense, and they're also nicked. They've had a lot of injuries on the offensive side of the football, so Kurt Ryan is really up against it here tonight.
So if you look at this one again, we show you some of the balance there as far as the numbers are concerned. If you had to handicap this, where or who might have an edge?
I think I got to give it to Chip. Number one, they're healthier. And number two is Scott Merchant made a conscious effort in this offseason, this past offseason, in the weight room, in the gym on Sundays and Saturdays, working out to stress defense. Chip's always put up a lot of points. But sooner or later, you meet a team that scores more. Right. Well, they've concentrated on defense this year, and it's starting to pay off. They're holding their opponents down much more defensively. The points aren't piling up against them. So I really give the edge to Chip here tonight.
Defense wins championships, they say, Rubes. Write that down.
Yep.
Now, typically,
you're so wise.
this would be the point in the show where we would welcome in a third member of our broadcast crew somewhere out in the stands, Natalie Kerwin.
Where is she?
Nat.
Oh, there she is.
Doing her best Chris Collinsworth impression here. So I know you wanted to be out there on site, as we all did, but I know you're looking forward to this game as well.
I am. Well, before I get to that, did it stack up to the Chris Collinsworth slide, though? I know we're getting a little close and comfortable here at the desk, but as you said, I know I have to be here in studio, but we still have all the amazing stories that we wanted to tell, even though I am not on the field. But one thing that jumps out to me is just how special football is to the players and coaches at Romeo High School, and I spoke to head coach Kurt Ryan earlier this week, and he summed it up best as anybody could.
I mean, I feel like it's my purpose. I mean, there's, you put 100+ hours a week into something, you better love it, because you're going to sacrifice in a lot of other areas. And I'll be honest, this time of the year, it becomes really tough because you can only do that so many weeks in a row. Our schedule's so tough that, you know, even as coaches, we have to bring our A game every week. And last 2 weeks, I've had some very timely messages from kids in the past. Yesterday, I had one on Facebook going back 12 years ago of just, you know, how much football meant to him. And, you know, those things really help keep you going, push you forward. So.
Yeah, you can see Coach Reines get so choked up there, and this is his 22nd year at Romeo, and he told me that he still loves it just as much as the first day he started, and you can just really tell with him. Yeah, he's a special guy, Coach Reines, Coach Scott Merchant at Chip Valley. Both these guys, great leaders of young men. It's going to be a fabulous clash in the MAC Red here tonight. The Big Reds against the Bulldogs. We'll bring it to you next here on Bally Sports. Perfect night for high school football on the first Friday in October. Hello, 42 degrees in Romeo, Michigan tonight under mostly cloudy skies. See, the lights are on there at the doghouse. There's Scott Merchant, head coach of Chippewa Valley, brings his team in with a 5-1 mark, 3-1 in league play. 15 seasons now at Chip Valley. And on the home sideline, Kurt Reines, 22 seasons leading the Bulldogs. They come in with a 4-2 record overall. They are 2-2 in the MAC Red. A fabulous showdown here on a Friday night. And it will be Chippewa Valley who gets the football first. Again, depending on what happens across the way, the MAC Red Conference could be decided here with 3 weeks to go in the regular season. There's the dog pound getting after it. Yeah, a lot of fans in Eisenhower as well as Dakota, Romeo Bulldog fans tonight, pulling for the 2-2 Dogs to upset Chip. And the deep man for Chippewa Valley is Shamar Hurd, but he will not get a chance on this one as Deshaun Lanier. Short kick, and he will get it up to Andrew Schuster is going to bring the Big Reds out for the first time here tonight. Again, if you missed the open, we are not on site, so we don't have all the camera angles that we typically would to be able to show you some down and distance situations, but bear with us. I think we're going to have a fabulous football game in front of us as Chippewa Valley heads out onto the field for the first time. Andrew Schuster, as you mentioned before, partner, in a long line of talented quarterbacks with that last name, now getting an opportunity as a junior. Here's the signal caller. The ball at the 25-yard line as Schuster reaches back and finds Shamar Hurd on the outside for a modest gain on first down. So let's take a look at the starters for the Big Reds. Only loss came 2 weeks ago at Dakota. They fell 28-17, and they've got some talent on the offensive side, as you so eloquently put. Matt Dreshy, of course, their leader up front at the left tackle position, and then at the skill positions. We're going to see some guys rotating in and out of the backfield, but out on the outside, keep your eyes on Shamar Hurd. But this time they hand the football off to the senior Darren Hawkins on 2nd and 4, and he will be close, but about a yard shy. Well, you're going to look at a lot of different backs running the ball for Romeo. They're going to, or rather for Chip Valley, they're going to run 3 of them through there. You can see Hawkins, you can see Snow, and Kresnicki as well. And what's really cool about that, Johnny, is all 3 start on defense, so what it does, it keeps them fresh. You always have fresh legs at the running back position. That's such an important part of what Chippewa Valley does, and there aren't a lot of programs out there that have that type of depth at running back where they can show you a lot of different looks. It remains Darren Hawkins in the backfield on 3rd and 1 as Schuster takes it out of the shotgun. And the handoff to Hawkins, not a lot of running room, but falls forward and eventually brought down. That should be enough for a first down, and that'll move the sticks. So the Romeo Bulldogs been decimated by injury a bit this season, and we get to this point in the year and
you've got to try to figure out next man up.
Yeah, you look at these two gentlemen. Victor Earl is a Swiss Army knife guy for Romeo Bulldogs. He can play any position, really on both sides of the ball. And Mark Goedge is the dude. And that's what Coach said. He said, we talked about who did we look for? He said, look for number 45 on defense. He is our dude. And that means he's going to be in the play a lot here tonight.
So it is a fresh set of downs for Chippewa Valley. And again, the handoff is to Hawkins, who's got a little running move. And up past midfield and into Bulldogs territory. So Darren Hawkins, as you talked about it, plays both ways. He'll get it done in the linebacker position as well.
Yeah, a nice job of bouncing it. It was clogged inside. Ryan Relier did a good job filling, but it allowed Hawkins to bounce it outside and pick up some good yardage. Really the best run play they've had to date, Johnny. It's going to see how that smaller defensive front is something we're going to watch matches up against that huge offensive line of Chip Valley.
Well, Hawkins remains out there for this entire first series. Is one of the captains on this football team. Fresh set of downs, ball spotted at the 48-yard line. Schuster hands it off one more time. Hawkins lowering the shoulder. Hawkins falling forward. Eventually brought down by number 8, Victor Earl of the Bulldogs. One of those impact players you talked about, Rob Rubick.
We're going to see when you run a lot of power and counter. Watch the 3 down linemen in front for Romeo Berry. They all go down into the ground to create a pile to allow your linebackers. It's called spilling. They want to spill the running back outside, let the linebackers come up and scrape. You can see them, they just kind of root hog down there, Johnny, and allow the linebackers to come up. The problem is the linebackers didn't get there quick enough as he bounced outside and ended up being a good game for the offense.
Another fresh set of downs, moving the ball at will on the opening possession of the football game. One thing they wanted to be able to do, every high school football team wants to be able to run the football a little bit, but that was one of the keys here tonight. Set the tone, running the ball. This time, play action. Schuster, back to pass, looking deep. Pretty good coverage by the Romeo defense, and that was Giorgio Ruffino, the senior defensive back, in coverage.
Well,
against Deshaun Lanier.
Sorry, partner. One of the things that Coach Ryan has emphasized is not giving up the chunk play and not letting people get behind you. So your DBs are going to be backing out quickly. This just looks like a cover 3. So the corner of that side, and that'd be Giorgio Ruffino, he's got deep third. So he's not letting anyone get behind him. He was in good position there. They were trying to get Deshaun Lanier, but there was nothing there, so well defended. But Romeo's got to be a little bit concerned. No pressure at all. You give Schuster that type of time. He went for the big shot there, John, but he can also look for those crossing routes and so forth coming underneath that coverage.
Andrew Schuster, you see the quarterback there, gotten bigger and stronger coming into his junior campaign. On 2nd and 10. Again, play action. They sling it out to the outside. A little bit of running room. That's Kalen Shaw, the senior wide receiver. And that should be another fresh set of downs for the Big Reds. Well-oiled machine here early on, Roops.
Oh, what a nice block as he catches the ball, but Kalen reads it wrong. He should have bounced that to the edge. You have to read your blocker, and the blocker was kicking inside, and so you're the ball carrier, you got to go outside. He just was able to get it because he's pretty quick. He used his athleticism to get a nice gain. They're really looking for Deshaun Lanier a lot.
They got both those guys, and Kalen Shaw and Deshaun Lanier. Sometimes those guys don't get as much coverage because Shamar Hurd demands so much. 1st and 10 now, ball at the 25-yard line. Schuster hands it off. Hawkins, patient. Hawkins. Big chunk play before he's eventually brought down. The Romeo defense, that was Victor Earl again in on the tackle. Darren Hawkins, one of the team's captains as a senior, getting the lion's share of the carries here on the opening drive of the football game. What they say about number 9, quiet guy, but he lets his play do his talking for him, and talking pretty loud right now here on the first series. First and 10 yet again.
Or they're loading the box. They got 9 inside. 5 down, 4 linebackers. You see the safety walked up. They're manning up outside, playing 0. A lot of room to throw the ball here if you want to.
And looking into the end zone. Deshaun Lanier, they're going to say incomplete. Quick release from the quarterback, pretty good coverage. Wasn't able to bring it down in bounds.
You know, we talked to Coach Merchant. He says that the intelligent level, the IQ of the football player right there throwing the ball, Andrew Schuster, is second to none. And we saw there, he checked into that. He read 9 in the box. He checked to a double fade with the 2 receivers who had man-to-man outside. He just tries to fit it in, but just doesn't quite get enough room, and the foot lands outside. Nice catch by Lanier, but just not quite there. But you got to appreciate a quarterback at this high school level, seeing that, understanding it, having the prep done ahead of time, Johnny, to know we're going to check out of it.
Pretty good coverage from Ben Turner, the junior defensive back for Romeo. That brings up 2nd and 10. Hand the football up. Darren Hawkins this time ran into a wall. And nowhere to go. Anthony Lomakowski, the senior linebacker, in there to stuff it. That'll bring up 3rd down.
He's one of the hammers. We talked to Coach. He loves Lomakowski. He says a physical player, 6 foot 215. That's a big body in high school. Yeah, that's a stout. That's not a
big body anyway.
Yeah, right. So a good job of Lomakowski. There's a look up front. You see some of the down linemen right there. There's a look at, oh, that's Giovanni Palumbo, number 42. So right now it's a 3rd down and 8, Johnny. You got spread look. Let's see. This is a situation. A lot of teams will come out. They'll try to spread you out, and they might run either a draw to the back or leak the back out of the backfield and run a quarterback keep in this situation.
You mentioned that Giovanni Palumbo. See what the callers are going to wave that flag off. Giovanni Palumbo, you know, typically would be your backup defensive end, but get an opportunity to start with the injury to Mark Goedge at the nose tackle position. So get a big opportunity here tonight. 3rd and 8, big play here on the opening drive as Schuster drops back to pass. Here comes the pressure. Schuster gets away from it. Schuster inside the 5-yard line. What a take from the junior quarterback for Chip Valley. I mean, they had that read perfectly. Here came the pressure, and there went Houdini.
Yeah, they bring late pressure, number 22, Ryan Rellier in black. He does a good job avoiding a block. He just overshoots Schuster. And part of that's because Schuster had enough sense to feel the pressure. He steps up in the pocket, and then he sees a little bit of a lane, Johnny, and he takes off. He turns what it could be a negative play and force a field goal into getting a 1st down. And that's just the experience of a young man that comes from a long line of QBs.
So Schuster sets him up perfectly now. Yep. And look who it is. Darren Hawkins from the Wildcat. Bad snap, and he's just got to fall on it back at the 15-yard line. So Chip Valley couldn't stand prosperity after a big 1st down on 3rd and long. And now they're going the wrong direction.
And this is interesting because this is on Hunter Emmers, the center, because he's had no problem when Schuster's been back there. Every snap's been perfect. You get someone back there different, it shouldn't change what he does at all, but it does. Something changes, he gets the low snap, and a heads-up play, I believe, by Hawkins. Just fall on the ball. Live to fight another day. You still have, you try picking it up, and there's a guy right behind you. He hits you, Johnny, that ball goes flying, and then they pick it up, scoop and score the other way. Heads-up play.
Yeah, so many times you see that, especially a guy used to having the ball in his hands. You say, running back, I can make a play, but instead live to fight another down. So now it's going to be 2nd and goal. Ball back at the 15-yard line. 3 receivers set now for Schuster. Here comes pressure. Schuster, quick release. Shamar Hurd in space. Hurd with the stiff arm inside the 10 down to the 9-yard line. He's brought down by Owen Youngblood.
Yeah, Youngblood had some help with Rufino that time. Number 3 come in. Youngblood, number 2, also doing a good job, but good closing speed. That's a hard tackle. That guy can flat fly, number 11 in white. You're the 100 and 200 champ in the state of Michigan.
Forget about it. As a sophomore?
He ran 10.77 in the hundo. And it was a minus 1.9 win. It wasn't wind aided.
Look at you with the wind call.
Oh yeah. I do look at the graphics that our Brian Henry sends us. So he can flat fly. And as you said, he's a sophomore, a little bit small yet, but he puts on. You think he puts on like 15, 20 pounds? Ooh,
he could be dangerous.
He'll be knocking on his door.
They might look for him here in this situation. What a drive! 3rd and goal now. Can the Romeo defense get a stop? Schuster. Play action, Schuster, pressure! Ball comes loose, they're gonna blow it dead. And Romeo times the defensive push just right and finally get the pressure they wanted. 4th down, decision time for Scott Merchant and the Big Reds. who've gone on almost a 9-minute opening drive.
That was close to a fumble, really close. They're going to come off the edge. We're going to get a look. It's going to come from the left side of your screen. Beats the block. Is that Victor Earl? Is that number? Man, that is
Hard
tough.
to tell from that angle.
The ball is definitely going forward, but does it get hit forward? Let's see, get a better look. No, that's a good call by the officials. That arm was coming forward. That ball got hit out late.
And all things considered, as Tarek Ahmed Basic comes on and splits the uprights, if you're rolling drive, you say, all right, we held him to 3, we're in business. Chippewa Valley strikes first in this MAC Red showdown. Back to Barnabo Stadium, a drive that took almost 9 minutes off the clock, ends up in a field goal for Chip Valley. Let's get to the Rubik's Cube. What do you got, the keys for Romeo tonight, partner?
Big Law and Order fan. And now the scales of justice are balanced, correct? It's supposed to be balanced, and that's what Romeo needs to do offensively, Johnny. They need to be able to run the football and use that play-action game as well. And defensively, it's all about containing the speed, the superior speed that Chip Valley has, especially on the edge. Kurt Reines, the head coach of Romeo, made no bones about it. He says, we cannot allow them to get behind us, give up the big play, because they're too good, they're too balanced offensively, running the ball too, that we can't give them the easy touchdown. We need to make them work for it, and we saw that in the first series. They did a good job of getting deep as the deepest, and Giorgio did a good job coming in there in Rufino and stopped the long pass to Lanier. So it was a good series. As you said, Chip feels good. We just drove the ball. We only got 3. We had a chance to get 7, but still a good opening drive.
Great point. Great point. Both teams got to feel pretty good as we have 3:17 remaining here in quarter number 1, and now Romeo with the chance to possess the football for the first time. Victor Earl, Mr. Everything, on the kick return. It's mauled right out of bounds. So for the first time, we'll get a chance to look at the senior signal caller for the Romeo Bulldogs, and he wears number 7, Jayden Roberson. Roberson, you know what's interesting about him? He was almost a 3-year starter at quarterback. You see his numbers on this season. Almost a 3-year start at quarterback. Brought him up as a sophomore, banged his shoulder up a couple days before his first start. And so they went a different direction, had to wait his turn, but sometimes you take a step back and get a chance to evaluate some things, and now here he goes as a senior with an opportunity to do something special with this Romeo team against a very talented Chip Valley roster. And Roberson changes the play call at the line of scrimmage. They bring motion. Little sweep action. And a modest gain as Victor Earl picks up a couple of yards. We'll show you the starters up front for this Bulldog unit. Some talented offensive linemen. It starts with the left tackle, Dominic Giaccona. Dominic Giaccona, Colin Jachewski, Abram Evans, Danny Albert, and Carter Book, the Book. Tino Palazzolo being the running back spot. Jake Watson at the tight end. You saw the wing, Victor Earl, Ben Turner, and Giorgio Rufino. First start at wide receiver here tonight. You saw how talented he is in the defensive backfield, but because of injuries, getting an opportunity to play offense here tonight. This time, hand the football off, a little inside give up near the 40-yard line. And Tyler Pressel picks up a couple of yards, and that'll bring up 3rd down. So for Chip Valley, you mentioned the offseason emphasis was on defense. How about tonight?
Well, there's some certain people you're going to see make a lot of those defensive plays that we're talking about. And Cameron Frazier's one of them. He's going to be that linebacker. He's going to be running the ball all the time. At the back level, Rayshawn Hester does a nice job. And then up front, Anthony Wright is a disruptor, number 62.
On 3rd down, handoff. They keep it on the ground. And that's going to be close. Tino Palazzolo right at the sticks. They say give it to him. 1st down, Bulldogs.
Good job coming out. They ran just a couple. They're not called jet sweeps out of this kind of double wing look they're running. It's just the outside give. But then he ran a counter underneath on 2nd down. They had some success at that. So
same formation. And they hurry up to the line of scrimmage. Roberson Hands it off one more time. Victor Earl. And Earl swallowed up by a host of Chippewa Valley defenders. So Romeo again, they'll run a couple different guys out of the backfield. You saw Tino Palazzolo getting an opportunity to touch it. Victor Earl from that wing position, he really does it all. We talked about him. You mentioned him being kind of that Swiss Army knife, but Earl's certainly a guy that gives a little bit of speed once he gets to the edge. He's a workhorse for him. Said if it came down to it, they could play him at quarterback. He can throw it, run it, catch it. And so far, he's been involved early on. This time, Roberson rolling to his right, has to fling it, and incomplete. That'll bring up third down.
Well, this is the same look. This is the same look offensively. Watch, they're all going to step to the right. The offensive line pull. They ran this in the run to Victor Earl twice. Now they run play action off it. They have Victor Earl in the flat, and Roberson just misses him. I mean, he's open. He's going to catch that, turn up, pick up at least 5 to 10 more yards, and move the sticks, and that's what Roberson would like to have back.
So Roberson got that pretty good size. He has good arm strength, but that time just missed his intended target. So now you got a 3rd and 6 situation, ball near midfield, and they hand the football off. And this time it's going to be Anthony Lomacowski, the senior. He's going to be short of the first down, and it'll be decision time at midfield. You likely have to punt this football away, but they might get an opportunity here at the end of the first quarter to discuss.
Yeah, I think I might go shotgun here and have my quarterback pooch it. And you got to change the field on them. If you give it to a team that just went 80 yards down the field on you pretty easily, they had to settle for the field goal, obviously, but you'd hate to give them a short field. And I think that was a quick quarter. Wow. Well, that first drive. Yeah,
that's what happens. That's what happens when you Chip Valley. You pick up 4 or 5 first downs and chew up almost 9 minutes off the clock. So decision time for the Bulldogs. Don't blink. Quarter number 1 has come to a close. What are they going to do? Coach Reines on 4th and 3 near midfield. Decision time. We'll bring it to you next.
Football Fridays on Bally Sports Detroit are brought to you by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Family is not just the name of our company, but the way we do business. And by your local Toyota dealer. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Well, October is a busy month for the town of Romeo, but especially right there on Tilson Street. This street is ranked nationwide every year for being one of the top Halloween celebrations in the country. Nearly every house on the street goes all out in decorations. And there's actually a football connection to this. Romeo's special teams coordinator Mike Lee and his family started this tradition, and it got big in the late 90s. That coach told me about 2 weeks leading up to Halloween, nearly thousands of people come out to see these houses on the weekends. I was lucky to go see it just earlier this week, and man, some of those houses are crazy. Johnny, Rob, you guys down for a little road trip by the time Halloween wraps up?
Let's go. Trick or treat.
That is really cool looking, but something else kind of caught my eye is those young guys with their shirts off that are all painted up. The guy in the front row had his arms, he's freezing. I'm like, yeah, you don't have any clothes on. Bring a dang coat.
On 4th and 2, Romeo shows they are going to go for it. Ball at the 48. Shirts are optional on a Friday night in October. And they're a little pooch punt. And takes a, well, checks up. It's like a little lob wedge. Checked it up inside the 40-yard line.
Yeah, I called the pooch, Johnny. I like the idea of a pooch. I don't like how that was constructed, though. It's easier just snap it to your quarterback and make it look like he's in the shotgun in the pass, although they do go under center almost all the time. But put him in the shotgun, just have him pooch it. That had to be caught, pitched out to someone else. He had to kind of gather himself and try to punt it, and you might as well have gone for it. It would end up being maybe a 10-yard, would you say 10-yard, 8-yard punt, 10-yard punt maybe?
Didn't travel a long way, I can tell you that much. And right here, you see what Chippewa Valley did last time out. 15 plays, 63 yards. Came away with 3 points. So back trots out Andrew Schuster. How about this formation? Trips receivers here on the near side of the screen. And a high snap for the second time, and Schuster has to fall on top of it. We saw it once when they went to the Wildcat formation earlier. Hunter Emmers comes in and takes down the quarterback.
Well, this is big number 67 in white. Hunter Emmer's second snap. The one was too low. That one was a little bit high, and Schuster had no choice but just to get the ball and get down with, live to fight another day. Those are we saw it be a drive killer last time when they got all the way down there, and that happened inside the 10-yard line. They ended up having to settle for a field goal. Now you start out the drive with excellent field position and first down. That's tougher than a penalty, Johnny, because on a penalty, at least you get down over. This situation, you lose the down as well as the distance.
Well, we did mention it's low 40s here at game time, so it might be a situation with Emmer snapping the football out of the shotgun. That time right on target. They sling it out to Hawkins. Hawkins makes the first man miss and eventually stood up, and he's taken down by Alex Angelo. So getting their playmakers in space. Darren Hawkins on the sling pass from Ryan Schuster.
Well, you're going to see
Schuster, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
A good job reading this and flying to the ball, and that really should be a penalty. I think that was missed by the official. You see number 8, Kalen Shaw, just putting a shoulder into Anthony Lomacowski, number 13. He's coming up. This is definitely a blindside block. Lomacowski never saw that. That should be a penalty 10 out of 10 times.
Well, it looked like Kalen Shaw right after he did it. He looked right at the official like, oop.
They remember old officials. I'm not getting on them. We drop balls. We miss throws. They miss calls. That was a missed call. I don't think they did it intentionally. They just did not see that. And that's one that really could cost Romeo here.
Well, 3rd and long. They got a chance to put a stop to it right here. Schuster drops back, slings it, and Hawkins able to catch it right near the sticks. And I don't know if he got there. He might be a yard short. That Schuster throws a pretty good ball, but there again you saw usually sure-handed. Kalen Shaw rather on the outside. It was Kalen Shaw hit him right in the hands and bobbled it just a little bit.
100%, Johnny. You alluded to the fact about Emmer as a center maybe struggling with the football is cold. Receivers, definitely, when you're not used to it. And this is the first cold night, first cold day. They haven't even been practicing in this weather, and you lose 25, 30 degrees. Now, the next week or so, you start getting used to it. It's not as bad. But that first time, the initial time of each year is tough.
So they are a yard short, which means Tarek Ahmed Basic, number 47.
Punt safe defensively. You're playing against the fake. You're going to make sure they punt the ball.
Ahmed Basic, one of the better kickers in the game. We've been calling his name for a couple years. And a nice punt inside the 20-yard line. That one's going to come to rest at the 16-yard line. So the Romeo defense much better on Chip's second offensive possession. They force a punt. They'll get the football back after this.
Welcome back to Romeo, where Chippewa Valley is up 3-0. And speaking of the Big Reds, head coach Scott Merchant knows what it means to be all business, but he also knows what it means to have some fun. He gives out 9 awards to his players each week, and let me tell you about what they are. All right, defensive, offensive, and special teams player of the week. They get championship belts. You got a scout team player of the week for offense and defense who rock some crowns, a big hit award. That guy gets the big Raiders shoulder pads and a red hammer. You got your best block award, big play award, and the Juice Award. All right, it's just a fun way to recognize the guys. And let me tell you, Johnny and Rob, we might not be on site tonight, but you know what? We're making it do. I'm giving us the Big Juice Award. All right, we're bringing the energy tonight. So I brought my own bottle of Tropicana. All right,
there you go.
I got a glass too, just one, but you know what? I'm pouring an honorary. If I can get this open for us, I'm pouring an honorary glass. All right. Cheers to us for making this work in the studio.
Yes.
You know what Rubes calls that, Natalie? A mixer.
We might have some special stuff behind the scenes. I don't know what Rob's got in his briefcase over there, but
you got to fill the rest of that glass with something. Very good, Nana. Love the high school football tradition.
I'm glad I'm a retired teacher now, Johnny, after that statement you made, so I appreciate it. Because I would be retired if I wanted to or not after that.
Here we go. 1st and 10, Romeo back with the football. Can they get something going this time around? Handoff to Tino Palazzolo. Tough running. That'll bring up 2nd down, picks up a couple of yards on 1st. Again, this Romeo team endured some injuries. A lot of its key players, particularly on the outside, counting on some guys to step in and fill that void. You know, the thing about it is, you know, it's a next man up necessity more than a next man up opportunity. But their depth has been tested now with 3 games to go here in the regular season. They're going to lean heavy on Tino Palazzolo, the senior running back there. You just saw as the primary ball carrier. Back to pass, Roberson, good underneath. And the reception made by Ben Turner. That'll be a first down for Romeo. Ben Turner on the receiving end here. One more look at it.
Yeah, pretty easy. They just go trips, and Turner's in the slot. He's the number 2, and the safety who's covering him is off about 8 or 10 yards, so that's predetermined as a quarterback. You see who has the soft coverage. You know you're going to run a triple curl there, and you hit the one with the off coverage, and well executed.
And now first down, fresh set of downs. The give to Palazzolo. Palazzolo busts through the hole up near the 40-yard line. Romeo in business now, starting to find a little bit of a rhythm.
Well, they're going to pull. They're going to get out front, get those big linemen. You see Nikchevsky along with Giacona getting out front, and Palazzolo does a nice job of using his blocks and then bouncing it and using a bit of speed, a stiff arm. But overall, game is going how Romeo wants. When you talk to Coach Ryan, he wants it to be a slow game with a fast clock. In other words, a lot of running, make that clock go fast. When you're a little bit undermanned, you want the game to be quick, and you want to keep their offense on the sideline. That's what Romeo's doing right now.
Victor Earl with the lead block, and here comes the quarterback, Roberson. He says, Coach, I may not be that fleet of foot, but give me an opportunity. I got some size and strength, and a nice job following the lead block from Earl. And that'll be another first down for Romeo.
It's like me on a Friday heading up I-75, a really good feel where the pressure is coming from in and out of traffic, doing a good job by Jayden Roberson. Does a really nice job. It's a predetermined draw. You see right there, he sees number 6. Okay, I'm going to slide to the right. I feel the pressure. Now I'm going to go up. And just a really nice job by the young quarterback.
6'3", 210-pound frame. Doesn't run it a ton. Would like to. Likes to be the one delivering the blow when you got that type of frame. Coach says some of them refer to him as Ben Roethlisberger. There's Curtis again. Curtis breaks through the first arm tackle, stays on his feet, and able to work past Winter Malumi. And Ben Turner with another first, well, it'll be close to a first down.
Yeah, really nice job. What I like is all their, you used to play action where they fake the dive up the middle. Johnny, quarterback goes back in the pocket, and that's what traditional play action looks like. Their play action is all off their toss and their outside zone play. It looks the same. They pull the lineman, they get out in front, and they do the ball fake. It's almost, and then they just end up pulling it and throwing the ball outside. Maybe a little bit of RPO action. I have to get a closer look at it, see if it's a true RPO or not.
Well, that'll bring up second down. This time a little play action. Roberson rolling to his right and misses his target. He was looking one more time for Ben Turner. That's going to bring up third down.
Well, they kind of wasted one there on second down, took a shot, went play action again, and tried to find Turner down the field, hoping to catch Chip, thinking run first. Very well disciplined defensively with Chippewa Valley. And they were ready for that pass. Now 3rd and 2, you feel if you're Coach Ryan, that you could get 2 yards. You've been running the ball and probably getting 4 to 5 yards a run. Now it's up to those guys up front with a Book and Elbert, and Evans and Nikchevsky and Giacona to get it done, to create a seam to move the sticks.
And in the backfield, they fake it. Back to pass. Got his target. Jake Watson, the big tight end. A little stutter step for Watson near the 20-yard line. First down, Romeo.
Yeah, Jake Wilson is just going to leak out. He's going to be the tight end to the right side. He just kind of shows a block down. He gets lost inside and then leaks out late. I love this play, Johnny. And I like it when you leak him to the flat. I also like it when you keep your tight end. Okay, another look. He's going to be number 12 in black. He's going to be to the right. He blocks down. And then a good job by Roberson. That's a tough pass when that guy's that open.
So they had the talented running backs and they decide to put it in the air. Now this time they go back to the ground and inside the 20-yard line. And let's see, the ball carrier on that play, was that? Apologies. It looked like that was Palazzolo.
Yeah.
Tino Palazzolo, the senior ball carrier. Again, a little bit difficult for us, as we mentioned. We're not on site for this game, so we're calling off the monitor, much like you guys are watching right at home. So
a quick shout out to the Watson family. You're not the Wilsons, and I know that. And your son will be Jake Watson from here on out.
We got you. All good. This time the handoff to Palazzolo, working around the right side, right at the sticks on 2nd and 2. It'll depend on the spot. I do believe he got there. Approaching 5 minutes to play here in the second quarter.
Well, this is the play they call buck sweep. Number 5 on the left wing in black. He's going to get it. But watch the lineman. Watch the guards get out in front. They're going to pull him. The right guard, number 73, doing a good job getting out in front of the play. Trying to get in. And getting in space and making the block.
3rd and 1. They did not pick up the first down as Palazzolo again comes in motion. And this time they hand it right up front. Lomacowski. And let's see, that chip defense was right there. And that's going to be 4th down. They did not get there. Any consideration here? To go.
No, I'm not kicking. 4th and 1. If it's a long, even if it's a long
field
one,
goal is
Johnny,
not going to win this game.
No, I don't think so. I think if you're Romeo, you got down here, you got to take full advantage of your field position in this situation. You've done well with that buck sweep. You've also, hit him a little bit with the power and in the jet sweep. But I also like the quarterback draw they ran. Let your quarterback, Roberson, see where the crease is, and maybe just take it in a shotgun and run like an ISO, have the back lead the quarterback through.
Here's they hustle up to the line of scrimmage. Anthony Lomacowski, number 13, in the backfield.
Wait, maybe we sneak
Got
it
one
too.
receiver down at the bottom of the screen. That's Giorgio Ruffino. There's motion. They fake the sweep. And no, they do give it off. Look out. Tyler Pressel around the right side. Fooled everybody. Touchdown Bulldogs.
The ball faking was so good, Johnny. And I listened to my partner so well. I didn't see it either because I was following your lead. Watch this. This is going to be quick motion. And this is the buck sweep we saw earlier, but it's so quick. And a nice job with the play fake to the fullback coming behind it. And that held the inside linebackers, and Pressel does the rest. Good job up front getting to the edge by Book as well as Albert, getting a helmet on a helmet. And the Bulldogs have a chance to take a 7-3 lead here with only 3.5 minutes in the first half.
Not a bad time for your first touch of the game for Tyler Pressel, and then a bad snap on the point after try. And how about that? We've seen 3 poor snaps tonight, 2 from Chip and 1 from Romeo. So the point after is erased. So 6-3 your final. Tyler Pressel around the right side. 1 cut to pay dirt.
Welcome back to Romeo. The Bulldogs up 6-3. And right there, number 50 is Ian Antonelli, a senior defensive lineman. He has a brother with special needs who always wanted to play football. So what did Ian do? He took it upon himself this summer to start a free special needs football camp. He recruited some of his teammates to help coach and train them for weeks. And the best part, the actual football team had its annual red and white scrimmage in August. And in between all the scrimmages, these summer camp kids got to play on the field. So many great images captured that day between players and those kids, and really just a fantastic initiative by Ian and his teammates, just making a dream come true for his younger brother.
Outstanding.
Yeah, they call Ian Antonelli the spiritual leader on this team. And again, football is important, but that's the stuff that really matters.
Great stuff, Matt. Great. That's the big picture, Johnny. That's a big picture by those young men that will help them. I think football is just tremendous for high school kids. It teaches so many things, but that teaches even more.
You see how big of a part of this football program he is, Ian Antonelli. But, you know, a lot of people, when they talk about, well, what's the importance of, you know, team sports and what's the importance of doing things like this? Hey, man, we just go out and try to win games. You say, hey, man, this is about, you know, life. You know what I mean? And when you're 17, 18 years old, it's when really things start to settle in for you as a young man. You start to understand your lot in life and what you can do to others.
And a lot of times, 16, 17-year-old boys, their vision's like a small circle where he has a better picture of the whole world.
Well stated. There's Chippewa Valley. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Look out. John Greenlee on special teams for Romeo just stood up. The return man, Kalen Shaw. Another look at this beauty on special teams.
Well, you want to run the football? You want to pick up the bouncing ball? Well, Greenlee takes an eye, and he looks where the bouncing ball is going, and he does a nice job of coming in. And Shaw does a good job initially picking the ball up and showing some speed and getting up the field. I like that. He goes a little bit east and west, heads north and south. Greenlee just stays square. He keeps his head up, slides his face mask, and just stones him. That is beautiful. Old school football.
Right in the open field. So Chip Valley still has pretty good starting field position at the 41-yard line as Schuster back in, hands the football off. Darren Hawkins, not a lot of running room. Picks up a couple of yards on first down. We talk about Schuster, and again, being in a long lineage of talented football players. As Coach Merchant says, I don't know what they have in the Schuster household, but it's working. You take a look at Tommy Schuster, class of 2019, won a state championship in 2018. There's Ryan at Lafayette University, class of 2022, and now Andrew, class of 2024. In fact, if it weren't for Andrew's older brother, he probably would have started as a sophomore as well, but waited his turn, and certainly that Schuster name rings proud in the Chippewa Valley community. Handoff, Hawkins again runs into a wall. Hawkins keeps the feet moving. Again, that Romeo defense able to come in on the second surge, but credit Darren Hawkins for some tough running up near midfield. He is going to be short. That's going to bring up third down, approaching 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Really impressed by what we're seeing from Darren Hawkins here in the first half. He's really been the bell cow for Chippewa Valley.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with this whole Romeo defense. We talked our open about how they're going to have to step up big today. Well, they have. So far here in the first half, the clock under 2 minutes and counting. This defense has been up to the task with a little bit of help, some miscues in execution by the Big Reds, but overall, a really good showing by this Bulldog defense.
3rd and 3. Schuster. Play action. Rolling left. Schuster cannot get it to his intended target. He was looking for Deshaun Lanier. That's going to bring up 4th down.
Well, I think this is a no-brainer if you're Chip Valley and Coach Merchant realize you got to punt. You're 4th and 3. You're near midfield. You cannot allow Romeo to get a short field here. You punt him deep with a minute and a half. You lick your wounds. You go and you coach him up at halftime a little bit. You come back out and hopefully perform better in the second half.
Oh, how about that Romeo defense after hot knife through butter on that opening drive? Yeah,
Ben Turner seeing action on both sides of the ball. They're doing a really good job catching the ball and defending the pass as well.
Made the necessary adjustments. They brought pressure, almost got a piece of that football. And ball's going to check up at the 25-yard line. That is where the Bulldogs will take over. Chip Valley trailing 6-3. Romeo will get the football back here with 1:24 remaining in quarter number 2. And now a message from the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. This special presentation of MHSAA High School Football on Bally Sports Detroit is presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. We've learned throughout the night about the tremendous football passion in Romeo, and that is certainly fueled by their unique history. For more, our Natalie Kerwin explains that story.
All right, Johnny, I'm about to give you the best history lesson, all right? If you look around Romeo, it's all about the Bulldogs. I mean, they run out of a giant bulldog head when they take the field, but one of the coolest parts about Romeo is that they weren't always the Bulldogs. Before this area truly developed into what it is today, it was full of peach farms. And guess what that made Romeo? The Peachmen. Yes, that was the school mascot back in the day. Took a look at these photos. Back in the 30s and 40s, the teams at this school went by the Peachmen. And if you know Romeo, you know peaches are still such an impactful thing in this town. To this day, the annual Peach Festival draws in thousands. And the football team honors the legacy of the Peachmen every year during the Peach Festival weekend. This game was on September 1st against Roseville. Look at that, rocking the throwback jerseys, the maroon with the orange stripes, with Peachmen on the back of every jersey instead of a last name. So, when did it all change to the Bulldogs? Well, back in the 40s, Dan Barnaboe was the school's athletic director and football coach. After some time as the Peachmen, he decided to change it in 1946 to the Bulldogs after his own pet bulldog. He thought that would be a little bit more intimidating than a peach. I don't know, you guys. These are pretty scary to me. I mean, I think they should consider changing it back. So,
it's an education here on a Friday night.
I can't do peach.
Way to go,
I can't eat a peach. That fuzz on it. Ugh.
You don't like it?
No.
What the heck,
I
man?
can take them when they've already been skinned. But you know what? I look at those uniforms, those throwbacks. You know who looked great in that? Our Mickey York. Tell me at his days at Lutheran North, when he would rock that old-time football uniform the Bulldogs had.
Hey, you're not lying. Mickey will be joining us here in about 1:24 for halftime alongside Lauren Plant as Romeo tries to add a few points on the board as they hand the football off this time.
Chip has
Tyler
3
Pressel.
timeouts. Sorry, Johnny. Chip does have 3 timeouts. Right now, Scotty Merchant choosing, the head coach choosing not to use them. Let the play clock run down.
Tyler Pressel with the touchdown run for the first points for Romeo. And Pressel gets the ball again, and Pressel makes first man miss up past the 40-yard line. So Tyler Pressel, lightly used in the first quarter.
Why is that?
Now really getting an opportunity.
The clock ran off a little bit there. They moved the sticks now. Now Romeo goes into a hurry up.
Playing with some tempo. Victor Earl in motion. Roberson rolling right with time. Here comes some pressure. He steps into the throw. Roberson was looking for Pressel, and here comes the flag. It's going to be pass interference against Chippewa Valley. Look out.
Yeah, you know, I was talking about maybe Scott Merchant using his timeouts to get the ball back. Well, all of a sudden they run one buck sweep with Pressel, and he gets about 15, 20 yards. Now you go on the offensive. If you are Romeo and the Bulldogs, after this penalty would be on the plus side of the 50. And, you know, we talked to Coach Reines about his kicking game. And, you know, he's okay. Not, you know, they have Sealy rather coming in to kick.
Freshman.
Has
pass interference, remember, not a
right.
not
the
a
freshman.
foul.
He said, "Wait till you see him," because we're still waiting to see him. He said he does not look too impressive. In other words, he's not a big
he
kid.
did say that. He said he might look like a 5th grade.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that would be not impressive in varsity
Well,
football. I mean, okay, so I
He's
took
just
liberties.
a freshman, Joseph Sealy. Yeah, but you know what? He's got the nickname Iceman.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Romeo's able to get into position to bring out Iceman. But Romeo may be thinking 6 rather than 3. All 3 timeouts. Ball placed at the 43-yard line.
The difficult task they're going to run into is that they are a 90% base run team. They can throw it some, but their bread and butter is made in the run game.
Pressel in motion. Roberson now with time. And Roberson looking downfield. He had Ben Turner, but just off the mark. That'll bring up 2nd down.
Yeah, Ben Turner realized you got to make this catch. Great job by Roberson. By getting outside the pocket, keep his eyes down the field. He extends the play. And nice job by Ben Turner, realizing in a scramble situation, the quarterback's coming to me, I'm going away. He heads down the sidelines, makes himself open, makes himself available, and the ball's there. He just can't quite catch it.
Ben Turner, young man, got thrown into the fire last week with an opportunity to start it wide out, had the game of his life, taking full advantage of his opportunity. But right there, would like to have that one back. Roberson back to pass. Victor Earl, good open field tackle by the Big Reds defense. Timeout. Up to make the stop was Preston Roberts. for Chippewa Valley. So 3rd down with 27.7 remaining here in the opening half. So let's take a look at Chip Valley. I mentioned only 1 loss on the season. That came a couple weeks back to Dakota. You got Romeo tonight, Warren Mott, another winnable game there, and then Oxford, of course, will be a tough game to close out this season. Now, as for Romeo, 2 blemishes, Ike and Dakota. Not huge surprises there, and then they've still got to travel on the road to Grosse Pointe South and Grand Blanc to close out the year.
And both those are 1-score games. You know, they had an opportunity in both those games. Coach said they had some key injuries once again, and you know he said, I'm not crying poverty here that we're beat up. But he goes, but the fact is we are beat up. We've had 7 guys only all year that have played in all the games out of, you know, he likes it 2 platoon. He said we had about 20 kids, 21 kids, only 7 have been able to make it through either not injured or sick or whatever it may be. So I think Kurt Reines might agree that this is one of his best jobs coaching. 2-2 in the MAC Red, but still doing an outstanding job. And we see that with the team he's put on the field here tonight, competing at a high level.
Well stated. Let's see what they draw up here on 3rd and long. Pressure comes. Roberson drops it underneath. And not nearly enough for the 1st down, but the clock continues to run. Somebody's going to have to burn a timeout as Tino Palazzolo is taken down short. So 4th down, 16.8 remaining. And now clock continuing to run.
Interesting. I'm going to assume that Coach Reines may not realize it's running, or he's just content. Now he's taking a timeout.
So maybe they want to take 1 shot at the end zone, don't want to leave any time, right? You got 1 down, 4th down. Last thing you want to do is give them the football. With them, will have a chance to throw the Hail Mary.
Well, this is why you have long arm Mondays. What long arm Monday is, we had this at Grand Valley when I played. On Monday, after we did our work, our running and stuff, you know, it's a light day. That if everyone get a chance to see who could throw the football the farthest down the field. And my former teammate Ron Essink, who played 7 years for the Seahawks at offensive tackle, threw it 85 yards and not a spiral. He was 6'7". He played 280 as a tackle. It was like a cartoon. Remember Herman Munster?
Yeah. He
threw the ball across. That's what Ronnie looked like throwing the football. Our quarterbacks could throw 85 yards, and that is not an urban legend. This is the truth. So right now, if you're Romeo, if you have a quarterback Monday like long ball Monday, you can find out who can throw it the farthest. Because I'm not sure your quarterback, if he draws back to the 50, make sure not all high school kids can throw it 50, 55 yards.
Well, they got a strong arm kid, and he doesn't have to throw it 85. That's the good news. Roberson can wing it down there. The challenge is going to be to try to give him enough time to get it down there, because you know Chippewa Valley is going to pin its ears back and come after him. On 4th down, this will be the final play of the 1st half. The home team Bulldogs out front, 5 receivers in the formation. Roberson with time, reaches back, got a target, but that one's going to be picked off. Chip Valley coming the other way, Kalen Shaw. Kalen Shaw still on his feet. Shaw taken down at the 25-yard line. Wow. Almost disaster for Romeo, and Kalen Shaw came that close to making a house call.
Well, the first mistake is it's a 45-yard pass that only goes 35 yards. That's tough. You got to be able to get it to the end zone, because even if the ball is caught, it's really not going to do you much good. And you see Shaw just undercutting the road. He reads it better, and he sees it's going to be short, and then uses some speed getting down the sidelines.
Well, Kalen Shaw, of course, plays receiver as well. Right here, the cutback. I thought he had it. And how about the stop from number 79,
That's a nice
Romeo.
job. Yeah, that's Colin Nichevsky. Does a great job, the big fella. Now, he had some help after that, but I'm not sure they're going to make the play. And if you're Coach Kurt Reines, he's like, this is why I wasn't going to take a timeout. Why did my assistant coaches tell me to take a timeout? He said, I should listen to my own intuition and just let the clock run out.
Hey, that is a game-saving play from Colin Nichevsky. And getting downfield. We're talking about a defensive lineman being able to go down and take down the talented Kalen Shaw. So that's how the 1st half comes to a close. What a fight. We expected it. We're getting it. Romeo ahead 6-3. You're watching Football Fridays here on Bally Sports.
Football Fridays on Bally Sports is brought to you by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Think Ford first. And by Legacy Football, the #1 football development program in Michigan. Halftime in Romeo between Chippewa Valley and the Big Reds. The home team leading at 6-3 at the break as we take in some of the scenes from Tilson Street, one of the most haunted places in the entire world when it comes to Halloween. Welcome inside our high school football headquarters. I'm Mickey York, joined by my partner from state champs, Mr. Lauren Plant himself. And Lauren, we have a jam-packed slate of great games to cover tonight, as we do every Friday night.
Dude, the comfy confines here in the Bally Sports. If you could see this scene right now, it is
the gang's all here.
There you go. Football Fridays overtime, of course, powered by state champs. We get started immediately following Chippewa Valley, and Romeo will have games from as many corners of Michigan as possible. So let's check in on a couple right now. All right, Macomb, Dakota looking to remain undefeated in the MAC Red. Quarterback Ethan Hamby hands it off to Calvin Watson. He's got springs, bounces through a field of white. Dakota up 21-7 over Utica Eisenhower at the half.
The Temperance Bedford defense has been the highlight so far tonight against Saline, holding C.J. Carr and the Hornets to nothing so far. The kicking mule strike first with a 5-yard touchdown run by senior running back Trey Brueggemann. That's the only score in this game so far. At the half, it is Bedford 7, Saline nothing. Right now, though, our score at halftime in Romeo. Romeo leading by 3, 6-3 your score. It has been a defensive battle so far. But up next, we look at just how important the Romeo football team is to its community and how important the community is to the football team as well. It doesn't get much better than high school football on a Friday night in Romeo. At the half, the hometown Bulldogs up 3 over Chippewa Valley. Romeo's Victor Earl and Anthony Lomakowski have dreamed of being Bulldogs since they were little. They grew up, worked hard, and made that dream a reality. Earlier this week, the two linebackers sat down with Natalie Kerwin to talk about what makes the relationship between the Romeo community and its football program so darn special.
When you were younger, did you envision yourself playing at this field all these years later?
For sure, yes. I would always look at the guys and I'm like, how am I going to play with these guys when I'm older? But everything worked out well, and here we are now.
And you both grew up here. What was life like just growing up in this area?
Obviously, it's a small town. I mean, there's not a lot to do, but I mean, we had our friends. We always grew up. We played football, so that kind of just, filled our time sports, really.
I think everyone here is like really close. Like, you know somebody like from your parents or like some other people that know you, and I think it just brings everyone closer together and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't really go around town without knowing someone. Yeah. So a lot of people you see in town usually know.
Everywhere you go, at least one person.
You'll see someone you know.
How would you describe the Romeo community?
I'd say the Romeo community is great. Obviously, freshman year we did lose one of our freshman players, Joey, but I feel like the community really gathered together on that and really supported the football team. Not only that, but I feel like the community just is always there for each other. I think that whenever something happens, we're there for each other, we're there to pick each other up, and I think this community is just awesome.
Yep, absolutely. Everyone just loves coming out Friday night, supporting us, watching us, and I think we just put on a show every week for them and top off the night.
Our homecoming game, it was packed. I don't think there was a single seat in the stadium, but I feel like that really affects us as well. I think the home field advantage is a real thing. I think, they get really loud. I think it really helps us.
How much does Romeo football mean to both of you?
Yeah, I think being a part of the football team is a big thing, I mean, whenever there's guys that need something, need help with something, usually the football team's the first. Their teammates are there usually. I think being a part of the football team is just bigger than that. I think it's a brotherhood. We're all brothers. These are all my brothers out here. I don't go a day without thinking about them, and if any of them need anything, I'll be there for them, and I know they'll be there for me.
Whoever we're going against, doesn't matter like how high you're ranked. I feel like we're gonna always bring the intensity, bring the energy, and play our best game we can play.
Halftime rolls on from our Bally Sports Detroit studios. We'll tell you about next week's game of the week as we wait on Chippewa Valley and Romeo to begin the second half. Tyler Pressel with the lone touchdown of the game so far.
We are coming closer to the end of the regular season, if you can believe it, and the game's only getting bigger. Next week, the OAA Red takes center stage as we head up the road to Southfield A&T for our game of the week as the 16th ranked Warriors go toe-to-toe with the number 5 team in the state, the West Bloomfield Lakers. Expect fireworks. Kickoff is set for next Friday night at 7:30 here on Bally Sports Detroit Extra. And speaking of extra, they put a little extra time on the halftime clock in Romeo so we can opine a little bit about the state champs' top 20 rankings. Now, of course, always a big topic of conversation is we get a lot of comments sent through the state champs social media sphere. But as we look at it here, Belleville clearly number 1 in the state as of right now. And again, these rankings will really shape up here in the next couple of weeks where you're going to see teams climbing, teams falling. You're seeing teams tonight, as we'll talk about in the OT show, that are struggling. At least they were in the first half. Teams that shouldn't be otherwise. This is the point of the season where you've got really big games coming up. Saline and Dexter, for instance, next week. But there's a little team called Temperance Bedford standing in the way of Saline right now that is giving them a run for their money. So we're going to see some of these teams climb, some of these teams fall. But overall, when you're looking at the top 10, and Mickey, you can comment on this, you know, we see teams perennially who should be there and will be there come the playoffs. Of course, Mac Red represented in there with Macomb, Dakota sitting at 6, Chip Valley at 8-4 now. River Rouge has been playing outstanding the last few weeks, including out of state. And of course, Catholic Central rounding out the top 10, De La Salle sitting at 3rd.
My comment is this is all rubbish, and that's why we are sending in the complaints to you on a weekly basis.
On the podcast, there's a hashtag called Blame Lorne. So you might as well just join.
We've adopted that here, by the way. We blame you for just about everything on this show every week.
Perfect.
Welcome to the team. It has been a defensive struggle so far in Romeo. The Bulldogs and the Chippewa Valley Big Reds in a hard-hitting affair so far. We'll get you back out there for the start of the second half. Coming up in just a couple of minutes. Football Fridays on Bally Sports is brought to you by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Think Ford first. Always great to get a couple of minutes to spend in downtown Romeo. You get trimmed up, stop by, pick yourself up a soda, maybe tour some of the antique shops out there. Oh, that all looks good right now. It's a good time to maybe run over there, grab yourself a little treat before the start of the second half in Romeo. All right, we went through the top 20 rankings a moment ago. We disagreed wholeheartedly with everything Lauren had to say.
Naturally.
And now we have a bone to pick when it comes to your Mr. Football rankings.
Well, you know, we have extra time here, and of course, you probably have plenty of time to head downtown Romeo before we get back to the game.
By the time we get back to football, yeah, you can.
But we can talk
city.
Mr. Football. I think it's great, and I think next week you're going to see a couple on display when we have, of course, Mr. Samaj Morgan going up against Mr. Isaiah Zeke the Streak Marshall. Marshall having a monster season despite what they're doing tonight. And, of course, you've got to stick around to the OT to see exactly what Southfield and what is happening there. Mason McKenzie in Caledonia has been outstanding. Parker Pico has been the benchmark for leadership and for what is happening at Rochester Adams. I'll tell you what. We were having a little conversation here inside the control, the room here, the studio. Lots of people and lots of busy activity happening. But Dante Moore clearly is the defending champ. He is Mr. Football until somebody takes it away from him. We're going to learn a lot next week, or at least we're going to see, again, King and Cass round 2. So that is always a great measuring stick. Unfortunately, the PSL is not what it once was, so unfortunately we don't get to see him perform the way that we would. But you get to see at the beginning of the season, they're always out of state, playing teams like Carmel or Warren Central in Indiana, or going up against a team from Ohio. Somebody coming up and taking on them. But
you have
go ahead.
Cabana and Carr next week going head-to-head in Dexter and Saline. So,
which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll see if both teams are 6-0.
Right.
But
Yeah.
again, we're just teasing for you to stay in tune and come check out the OT because there's a lot going on. And this is high school football, and anything can happen, and massive swings can happen with
Ethan Clark, the running back from Clarkson, having a huge night. He's in the running as well. He needed just 200 yards tonight to become Clarkson's all-time leading rusher. He put up 140 in the first quarter alone against Lake Orion, so perhaps he ends up moving up this list before the end of the season as well. If he doesn't, you can just call Lauren or text him, and he'll be happy to entertain your complaints.
Run the hashtag Blame Lauren. It's all over Twitter. It's perfectly there. Thankfully, there's a man named Lauren Michaels who has taken some of
That's the wrong one. All right, we got one more half of football to play in Romeo. 6-3 our score. Johnny Kane, Rob Rubick, and Natalie Kerwin return with a call the second half. We'll see you back here as soon as it's over for a complete wrap-up of Week 7 on the OT.
Low-scoring first half from Barnabo Stadium, but it is home team Bulldogs that lead it 6-3. We're just about ready to kick off quarter number 3 here on Bally Sports, but let's get to the first half highlights. How about Tarek Ahmed Basic? Love this young man, the strength of his leg, put it through for the first 3 points of the ball game. But then, how about this? Tyler Pressel around the right side, takes it in for the Romeo Bulldog touchdown. Fooled everybody, including the broadcasters. And Romeo took a 6-3 advantage. That was Tyler Pressel's first carry of the night and took it around the right side. First half stats, partner.
Well, kind of keeping in line with the rest of the football we've seen this week after the NFL last night. You've seen pretty much the same type of game here. A lot of defense. Difference is, I think this is really good defense. Where the NFL last night was really bad offense. Where this is 2 good defensive teams playing physical up front. Really, the big plays are difficult to come by here today. We saw a couple runs that kind of popped free. One pass play. It was more of a broken play and a scramble. But overall, sound defense up front. One big play, one chunk play could decide the outcome of this game.
Russell Wilson's on line 1, Rubes. He wants
he
to
looks
work.
like a scared youth. Look at his face. Since he went there, he looks totally terrified. He's thinking, why did I leave Seattle? Why?
And here we go. Head coach Brian Renas. Excuse me, Kurt. I got my mind all over the place. Kurt Renas. My mistake. Kurt Renas ready to bring the Bulldogs back out. Remember, Chippewa Valley had the football first. And so it'll be Romeo who gets the football first here to start the third. Get the final instruction.
Yeah, it's interesting. I try to put myself in the head coach's, body and think, what do you tell these 2 teams at halftime? What does each coach tell different? And I think Kurt Reines is going to say, listen, that's defensively. We did what we wanted to do. We limited them to 80 total yards. We do that again, we're going to win this game. Offensively, there's a ball that we dropped. We just got to execute. Actually, a couple of balls we dropped. We missed a pass in the flat. Remember, Victor Earl was leaking in the flat, and Roberson missed him. So we just have to make the plays that are presenting themselves, and we could be up 10-3 right now, but got to be pleased. Now, on the other side, Scott Merchant saying, listen, we just need to calm down. We're kind of forcing it offensively. It's going to come. We just need to go back to basics, pull, get the big fellas out front, let our 3 running backs who we trust and like take over this game.
And Tyler Pressel watches that football go into the end zone for a touchback. And Romeo will get the football at the 25-yard line. And back comes the senior quarterback, Jayden Roberson. Mentioned earlier in the first half, maybe not the most fleet of foot, but did hurt that Chippewa Valley defense once he decided to tuck the football and run. I mentioned some of the comparisons that are made to him and former Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. Not quite as big as Big Ben, huh? Big Jayden, but anyway, some of those comps are there. He goes 6'3", 210 pounds as he claps his hands and sets in motion. Roberson hands the football off, and not much. Chippewa Valley defense right there. And a credit to A.J. Wright in on the stop, number 62 for Chippewa Valley. That'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Sorry, when we talked to Coach Merchant defensively, he said, who do we look for the ball? We talked about Cam Frazier and Ray Hester in our early on in the game. We talked about impact players, but Anthony Wright is the other one that he mentioned, number 62. He said he is so disrupting up in the front that we really need him to play well, and it looks like he's starting the second half on the right foot here.
Yeah, 3-year starter for them. Going back to his freshman season. And there's some play action. Hand the football up. Palazzolo nowhere to run. And Chippewa Valley bowing its neck a little bit.
And this is what Chip wants. Put you in that 3rd down and long. Take that buck sweep. Take that jet sweep. Take that out of play. Force the ball into Roberson's hand to their passing game. They're much more fluent running the football than they are throwing it. Now, Roberson, he's proven he can make throws. And Ben Turner has proved that he can catch the ball down the field.
That was Tyler Buchholz in on the stop, big number 86 from his defensive tackle position. So they lose a yard on 2nd down. That'll bring up 3rd and long. With that Bulldog student section barking out their chants. Got to be excited on a crisp night in Romeo with their boys holding a slim 6-3 margin. And how about that? The dump off to Victor Earl with the little convoy. Earl into the 2nd level. Victor Earl now putting on the afterburners. And he's going to be brought down inside the 25-yard line. But look out, Victor Earl.
Well, this is a play you don't see much anymore. A middle screen. Victor Earl was lined up right on the wing, does a good job, picks up the big fellas down the field, gets a nice block there, springing him. That's Abram Evans, the center, and then Victor just uses his God-given athleticism and speed to get the rest of it before he's finally pulled down way down the field. And if it's not for Rayshawn Hester, that's going to be a touchdown. Well executed, well-designed play. If you don't throw the ball down the field that well, Johnny, what better than a screen?
This time, handoff, Pressel. Again, around the right side. He's having a heck of a game, Tyler Pressel, the senior.
Well, this is the best running play they've had and going in this direction. And it does matter because it's which one of your offensive line, the right side or left, are doing the job. And we're going to look here. It's just going to be the buck sweep. You see Pressel get it around the edge, and a good job out in front by Dominic Giacona, as well as Colin Nichevsky doing a great job at the point of attack, getting their guys sealed, Johnny, opening up that edge. And also, let's not forget about outside. I think it was Giorgio Ruffino with a kick-out block, which creates that natural seam, and a great job by Pressel. What a drive. What a way to open the second half for the Romeo Bulldogs.
I'm glad you brought up Ruffino. He and Pressel, these are two of the leaders, not just on the defensive side, but really putting this team on their shoulders this season. And looking into the end zone and caught by Pressel. Touchdown, Romeo. What a beautiful pitch and catch.
Well, this is executed extremely well, but I give the credit to Kurt Reines, the head coach, because this is a wonderful play call. You come on 1st down, you're killing with the buck sweep. You're running edge, you're running edge, you're running edge. Then you come out and run the show, the same look up front, and you go play action on 1st down. Pressel's able to get behind the secondary, Johnny, and a ball well delivered by Roberson, and they look like they're going to go for 2 here, trying to get that point they missed and the bad snap in the first half. Short of man.
Let me tell you something about Tyler Pressel again. Here's what's special about him. So Coach Reines, you know, they use Pressel and Giorgio Ruffino as examples of how you can be elite at everything. As they look up, they're going to line up for 2. Remember the missed point after early in the game. So they line up, and there it is. One more time, the buck sweep. Palazzolo leaning forward. He's in.
Wow, wow.
Romeo imposing its will, partner.
You call, don't give me. This is just being very physical. Now let's look. Here's the buck sweep fake. You see the play action, all the lines stepping to the left. This allows Roberson plenty of time, and Pressel gets behind, and that's just a well-thrown ball. I was talking to half while they're a run-first team. Well, right there, Roberson's making me kind of eat my words a little bit because that was a beautiful throw. And then on the 2-point, this is just their buck sweep. They're going to hand the ball off on underneath. They give it to Palazzolo,
yeah.
rather, and he just does the rest with physical play. He gets hit on about the 1.5, 2-yard line, Johnny. He's able to just move the pile into the end zone because we're looking at it live from that end zone view. He gets hit and kind of stood up at about the 2-yard line. He turns sideways and backs into the end zone.
So we were talking about Pressel. As I was mentioning, he and Rufino, as Coach Reines was saying, I like to use those guys as an example to the rest of the guys. You can be elite at everything you do with the right approach. 3-sport kid, 4.0 grade point average. Tyler Pressel, wrestling, track, football. Says he's a tough kid who can run. Obviously, we saw that. Nice job out of the backfield. Also handles the punting responsibilities, but really he's got his hands all over it tonight. 2 touchdowns for Tyler Pressel, and Romeo has Chippewa Valley on the ropes here. 3 minutes and some change gone by here in the 3rd quarter. And see what Chip Valley, Shamar Hurd, unable to get it started. We know he has that breakaway speed, lost his footing. And so Chip will start from there. Remember, this is the number 8 team in the state of Michigan.
But we knew coming in, Romeo was going to have to, I don't want to say play perfect, but they're going to have to play really well. And defensively, they have. And offensively, they're making enough plays. They're not dominating. They're not like chunking the ball all the way down the field, but they're making plays. And you look there, you're in pretty elite company. You look at CC and Rouge and Adams, De La Salle. These are the who's who, name of who's who in high school football in Michigan. So Romeo right now has Chip Valley on the ropes a little bit.
Schuster. Good ball on the outside to Shamar Hurd, stays in bounds. Hurd fighting, going to be brought down at the 40-yard line. One thing that we know about Chippewa Valley is they do have, and even Coach Reines said the same, he felt like Chippewa Valley might have had the advantage with the speed on the outside. So you got playmakers. It's only an 11-point deficit, but you still got to climb up that mountain. 1st and 10. Schuster underneath, Hurd, and brought down at about the 43-yard line.
Well, Shamar Hurd's been kind of quiet.
Looks like he took a shot here.
He's been kind of quiet, and they come out in this drive, a drive they really need to put something together, and they find number 11. That's the 2nd ball he's caught in this drive, this time getting up kind of slow. Let's hopefully he's okay.
We're going to take one more look at this. Again, Hurd
getting the ball in
the
space.
Slot.
You know, his kind of slight of build yet, only about 145 pounds.
So we talked about, one of his tools, one of his best tools is his speed. I'm not talking about good speed. I'm talking about elite speed. This was last year as a sophomore. Take a look at this. He won the 100-meter and 200-meter dash. You see him in lane 4, Shamar Hurd. And now in the 200, making the turn. This is a guy who's going to have choices when it comes to college. Does he want to pursue track and field? Does he want to play football? Does he want to play both? But that is lightning speed. And we certainly hope everything's okay. And Shamar Hurd remains down.
We call that cartoon speed. That's Speedy Gonzalez, roadrunner type of speed, where you just look different than everyone else on the field when you take off. You don't have that extra gear. You got about 2 or 3 gears, and let's hope the young man's okay. But we talked in the Rubik's Cube, Johnny, early on, and one of it was speed traps defensively for Romeo, that they had to control the speed, and they've done a good job rattling. When Hurd gets the ball, they do a really nice job of rattling, getting bodies on all sides, not to give him that lane to take off and really leave everyone else in his dust.
A sigh of relief. Again, Shamar Hurd listed at 5'9", 145, took a shot over the middle. Hopefully got his bearings straight, and hopefully we get to see him down the stretch here of this football game. Good to see him get off under his own power. So Chippewa Valley now. They'll huddle up, ball at the 47-yard line on 2nd and 4. Four receiver set for Schuster. The southpaw delivers it on the outside to Kalen Shaw, and Shaw is going to have enough for a first down, and it gets out of bounds. Well, one of the things you talked about, Rubes, is this Romeo team, they kind of have that blue-collar work ethic, and they may not have, what do you like to say? They don't have the
dudes.
Well, the Jimmys and Joes. And,
yeah, the Jimmys and Joes. They do it with hard work, heart, and a lot of X's and O's defensively. You can see that look. It's a three-man front. It's really a 52 or old-school 34 front, but they got the outside linebackers are just walked off. Now Romeo's starting to get a little something going, and you can see all of a sudden you get that passing game. You see a couple passes to Hurd. You come out, and then all of a sudden you get Shaw the ball as well. You start to soften up those linebackers, and now it brings the running game back. And you saw Hawkins with a nice gain there. We've seen mostly, we thought we were going to see more of Cash Snow and Clement Krasnicki, but it's been mostly Hawkins here we've seen in the run game.
Schuster back to pass with time, late pressure coming, reaches back and overthrows his intended target. He was once again looking for Kalen Shaw. Good job in the secondary by Romeo.
Yeah, Alex Angelo, number 15, once again. They're doing a good job in their cover 3 look, getting deep as the deepest, not getting the receivers behind them. There's look at number 15, not doing it. You see the receiver, Shaw, coming quickly, but Angelo does a good job playing this technique, getting down the bodies, get behind you. He's able to get there. And also, as you called him, when you were calling the play, Johnny, some good late pressure in the face of Schuster.
3rd and 4, 6:57 to play here in the third quarter. Romeo with the only score in this quarter. Chippewa Valley, first drive of the football game, marched 67 yards, ended up with a field goal. They've been blanked since by this Romeo D. Schuster, play action. Kalen Shaw on the receiving end. That should be enough for a first. Driven into the ground by Tyler Pressel. Have a night, 3-0.
On both sides of the ball. 2 touchdowns, and you want to talk about closing speed. Number 30, Pressel, he's going to close on Shaw, catches it, and he finishes it. Takes Shaw all the way back, drives him to the ground a little bit. I think if you'd have been at Chip Valley, they may have been looking for a little excessive
And he's a wrestler
punishment.
now, remember that. He's a wrestler, that's a takedown.
Yes.
That's worth 2. But it is a first down for Chippewa Valley, but Pressel and that Iron Man football both ways. Schuster over the middle. Incomplete. Did have a guy there. Evan DiBucci, the Booch, but incomplete.
Yeah, that ball got away a little bit on Andrew Schuster. Sailed high. But, you're talking about being tough on Pressel and wrestlers. How about Braden Merjavani? This young man, I'm going to tell you a wrestling story. I'll just kind of set up right now because you need to hear this. But he played a football game on a Friday night, and after this play, we're going to talk about what he did on Saturday and Sunday.
It's unbelievable. 2nd and 10. There's the handoff, and there's the Romeo defense again with a big pop. Nowhere to go.
That was Clement Krasnicki. He tries to bounce this big number 33. Now, he's more of their thumper inside, but Romeo has some thumpers on defense himself. Good job filling the gap by the linebacker. That was number 22, Ryan Riellier, and he does a good job. And on the other side of the play side, Anthony Lomakowski comes in and really finishes it off. So now you're in a 3rd down and long.
Schuster again over the middle. That's been there, and that's going to be close. Evan DiBucci this time right on target. The junior with the reception on 3rd and 10.
Same play we
First
saw.
Down.
Sorry, Johnny. The same play we saw him overthrow the ball. It's just a little skinny from the slot coming down the middle of the field. And that time, Andrew Schuster put it right on the money.
They are in rhythm now. 4 receivers set for Schuster. Play action. Schuster looking end zone. And great job by Pressel. Number 30 going up to break up the pass. He was looking for Deshaun Lanier.
Well, you're a corner. This is why you depend on your safety getting over the top. Gets behind the defensive back, the corner, but Pressel comes from his safety spot, reads it in a cover 2 look. He's able to come over and help out on Lanier, and incomplete. Because for a second there, it looks like Chip Valley was going to get 6.
That was perfect timing by Tyler Pressel. Give him a pass breakup. Now trips to the top of the screen. Out gunslinging over the middle again. And DiBucci, what a catch. Pressel was right there to trip him up. But Evan DiBucci coming up big on this drive for the Big Reds. They're in business.
I think this ends up catching the ball with one hand. The ball is a little bit low. He tips it ahead, and he just pulls it in with his left hand, his lead hand. And he's like, you know what? I got your back, Andrew Schuster.
They
threw
called
one
the
too
booch.
high. That one was a little bit low, but I bailed you out.
First down. Bad snap. Schuster trying to make chicken salad. And brought down about the 10-yard line. So I'll tell you what, aside from the opening drive of this football game, this is as good as Chippewa Valley has looked.
Yeah, and even a little bit more balance in this drive. We're seeing the ball in the air a little bit more with the run. The first drive was more run-oriented. This time they're airing it out a little bit, and that man right there, number 10, Andrew Schuster, is the main reason. Some well-thrown balls, and he's had some help from DiBucci, number 82, the wide receiver in white. He's done a really good job of pulling some passes in as well.
2nd and 9. Low snap. Schuster looking into the end zone. Big hit right at the goal line. Deshaun Lanier caught the football, and Pressel came in and laid the lick.
Oh, Pressel is just bringing the wood. Number 30, he's the safety in the middle of your screen. And Schuster throws this ball, and Pressel meets the receiver Lanier at the same time the ball arrived. This is a great hit. It's a clean hit, and I'm just glad both guys got up quickly.
That's a heck of a football play. And Deshaun Lanier, kudos to the sophomore for hanging on to that one. Might have heard the footsteps, but now put his team in position to punch it in from the 1-yard line. This is where you've got the embarrassment of riches in the backfield. Take a look at the 3 horses behind Andrew Schuster. Who's it gonna be? Touchdown, Big Reds. It's Cash Shaw. No, did they give it to number 9? I'm sorry, Darren Hawkins. Hawkins able to come in and punch it in from the 1-yard line.
Well,
another look at this, Rubes.
They had the 3 amigos in the backfield. They used the big man, Clement Krasnicki, to lead through. Hawkins just gets on his left side and follows him into the end zone. Good push up front. Now they're taking the point. I like this. Don't chase the point all the time. Take the extra point. You get the best kicker in the state, according to Scott Merchant. He said we feel he is the best.
I'm at basic. Splits them. 14-10 ball game. So right after Romeo moves up in front by 11, Chip Valley comes right back down the field, and the punctuation point, number 9, Darren Hawkins to pay dirt. Rubes, as you mentioned, you had a great wrestling story from Braden Mirjavani, the senior defensive end, also wrestles 189. Tell me.
Yeah, he played a high school football game on a Friday night and told coach, you know, I got to go wrestle Saturday and Sunday. He ends up being a national champ at a grapplers tournament on the west side of the state. And, you know, he would have been a state champion last year. He was winning in the 3rd period at 189, and he got taken down for a 2-point, and he ended up losing by a point in the state championship. But what a great weekend he had. And, you know, how many kids are going to do that? You got to believe after he plays that defensive line, how physical and demanding it is. Plays all Friday night in a great game, gives it all, and then goes and wrestles all weekend against, not against just local wrestlers, he's against wrestlers from all around the country. He actually beat the state champion of Florida during his run to his championship.
I think I misspoke. 182 was his weight class now last year. Yeah.
Love them, Johnny. Love wrestlers playing high school.
They make great football players and vice versa.
Great hands. They know how to keep you off their feet. They make great defensive linemen because they're so active with their hands and their legs. And you know what? I know if you wrestled at all, but wrestling is so much more physically demanding on the individual than football. Football is different. It's a team sport. You got guys that can pick you up. When you're wrestling, it's you against the other guy. And it's a tough sport, and it really – yeah, Hudson last year, I had the chance to do them in the state championship. They had 7 wrestlers that qualified for state on that team of a, you know, I don't know, had them in our school, maybe 250 kids in the whole high school, and they ended up winning the state championship. But not the dudes. They didn't have the Jimmies and Joes, but they had a bunch of grunts, boy, and they grounded out and got a championship.
Well, that Mirjavani, imagine what it's like being an undersized defensive end and then the very next day going to wrestle in what would end up being a 2-day tournament, as you mentioned, is Victor Earl with a nice burst on first down. So great storytelling there. And again, Merjavine just shows you a little bit the character and the strength of his kid. Remember, last year was his first year coming out to play. You know, hadn't played football.
Oh, right. He didn't play in high school.
Yeah.
He's a coach.
Dad's a strength coach. Coach said, you can play.
Yeah, you can try it.
Yeah.
Well, you end up getting a starting job and
now
hasn't
he's
looked
starting
back.
as a senior. Yeah, so tremendous for him. And again, being the runner-up at 160 and change last year in the MHSAA state finals. Hoping he's able to take first this year. And back to pass. Roberson lost his footing, cocked back to pass, and hopefully he's all right. Looks like he might have just tripped over his own feet there. He was rolling back. Yeah, the old
call that turf monster.
Yeah, the old turf monster.
Take a look
at
here.
it one
He's
more time
going under center. I do like quarterbacks being under center. They fake the buck sweep, and then he just kind of goes back. Ooh, and he turns to open up. He has, was that Watson over on?
Yeah, a little bit.
Trying to get the ball to Jake Watson on the left side, the tight end who leaked out into the flat, and it happens.
That was Andrew Spiteri who was applying the pressure. So third down now for Romeo. Again, 3rd and long after the loss of yardage. And after Chippewa Valley just came right back down the field to make this a 4-point game. If you're Romeo, you're saying, hey, we got to get something going again here. And so they hand the football off to Lomakowski. Anthony Lomakowski getting in on the action. And he's going to be short. That's going to bring up 4th down.
He's got to be
it's going to be close.
Yeah, you got to be tempted, but
you're on your side of the 30. I don't think you can take a chance here.
They're going to hurry up to the line.
Remember what they did last time. Keep in mind, their punter's Tyler Pressel, who also has 2 touchdowns on the night.
Well, that's a little quick hitter up the middle, Johnny, and they caught Chip thinking pass, and they just feed it inside quickly. And Lomakowski does a nice job of getting what's there.
Oh,
actually,
they gave him the first down. So they did.
Yes.
So they signaled first down. Looked like they were short initially, but they did go ahead and move the chains. So now, see a bunch formation. Pressel comes in motion, and they go the quarterback sneak right up the middle.
For 5 yards.
For 5. More than a sneak.
I think I can coach high school
again,
football
when you're
now. I think I can do it.
6'3" quarterback, you just need 2 steps and a fall forward.
And get a couple horses up front that are getting a push, like Evans, Albert, and Nachevsky.
There, the inside give. Pressel fights through the first would-be tackler up to the 44-yard line.
I like their backs. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about the 3 backs we're going to see for Chip Valley. Coach didn't do a hard sell on his 2 running backs. They're both good between Pressel and Earl.
This time the handoff to Pressel again. Pressel with patience, then the stiff arm. Whoa! And then the forearm shiver to Rayshawn Hester before he's finally worked out of bounds. Tyler Pressel can play.
He's got a little something now. He likes it. He's what we call a player. He just wants it. He loves playing football. He's a guy that's going to be out there late after practice. He loves the contact.
Romeo got something cooking now. Right up the middle between the tackles again. Inside 2 minutes to play in the 3rd. Now you're starting to see this bout both ways coming at it.
Yeah,
here's my best shot.
The big dogs are eating up front. Albert, Evans, and Nachevsky, they're getting pushed, and they're taking full advantage of that quarterback sneak. 2 sneaks for a total 11 or 12 yards.
Pressel, again, look at the patience. Tyler Pressel. Oh, Pressel's still with it. Down to the 21-yard line, willing himself forward.
I don't know if Pressel has any offers from the colleges yet, but he's going to have some after tonight. This is the only highlight film you have to put on. A great job, gets piled up, lowers his shoulder, keeps his legs going, comes out of the mess, and another good game.
That was Cash Shaw who came in and delivered the blow, but didn't wrap him up. And you can see Romeo been playing with this incredible pace. They haven't allowed Chippewa Valley to catch their breath on defense. Timeout on the field will take it with them. Romeo on the move. The site of tonight's Football Fridays game of the week is in Romeo in northern Macomb County as they host the Big Reds from Chippewa Valley. What do you take? 75 northbound to something?
Oh, no, I go 53 south.
I see.
I take 69 towards Port Huron. I come south. And then we hit the apple orchards. The best thing about being retired now is I can do it during the week when there's not 1,000 people at every apple orchard.
You need to stay away from the apple orchards. How about this final?
Dakota flexing a little bit. We figured we'd see that.
Final, Dakota, 31-7. We'll have highlights of this ball game coming up on the OT, powered by State Champs.
Yeah, I had a chance to call Dakota's opening game. They took care of Brother Rice down at Wayne State, and I knew then that they were good up front defensively, and that's how you said that, kind of not just, but the defense wins championships, Johnny. That's so true. That's a very good front seven that Dakota brings at you. They're tough to move the ball on, tough to sustain anything offensively, and they have enough weapons offensively to put some points on the board, and 7-0, and they got it rolling a little bit now.
They're in the driver's seat to win the league. Up the middle. Oh! Anthony Lomakowski with some tough running right up the gut, right through that Chippewa Valley defense.
They got him
again playing with pace.
They got him on a yo-yo,
back to the
Johnny.
line of scrimmage.
They got him on a yo-yo, inside out, outside in, inside out.
Motion. Pressel, left side, touchdown. Tyler Pressel can play, ladies and gentlemen. That's 3 touchdowns on the night for 3-0.
And Kurt Reines can undersell anything because he made it sound like he had nothing left in the tank with his team. They were so beat up. I don't have any guys to put on the field. And he brings out number 30 Pressel as well as number 8 Earl. These guys are ballers. And what a great job by Coach Kurt Reines with the inside-out attack. They hit him inside. They go outside. They go outside. They go inside. Quarterback sneak. A little bit of a quick trap inside. They run buck sweep. They run jet sweep. Really nice job of getting the defense kind of yo-yoing, Johnny.
With a great mix. You saw Anthony Lomakowski with the big run to set that up. And now the point after try is good. Joseph Seeley, Iceman, comes in and drills
Iceman
the PAT. The Iceman coming. Way to go, Iceman. 21-10. If you're just tuning in, Iceman is the nickname of the freshman kicker for the Romeo Bulldogs, who now open up a 21-10 advantage. We've gone touchdown Romeo, touchdown Chip, touchdown Romeo. What's next?
Well, that's just an inside trap, and a good job pulling. You saw the left guard, Colin Nichevsky. He's the one that does a short pull, and he kicks out, and then the touchdown is just going to be, we hit him inside, now we're going to hit him outside once again with that jet sweep. And a great job. Once again, we talk about Victor Earl doing a nice job on the edge, number 8. Everybody wants to run the ball, Johnny. How many guys, when they're not getting all the carries, are going to put themselves out there and be physical on the edge and get those blocks? Victor Earl is the one that's been doing it all night, and he's the reason that the jet sweep has worked so well.
Call him Victor Earl Campbell. Look at Pressel tonight. They got the receiving touchdown to go along with 2 rushing touchdowns.
Right, so those are just rushing stats. I thought he had 3.
Yeah, he's got 3 total. But
great
you mentioned
catch on the
Victor
one, right?
Earl, all these guys, again, showing a little bit of grit, a little bit of moxie here tonight. 11-point advantage, inside a minute to play here in the 3rd. And kicking away, Chippewa Valley. And Evan DiBucci gets up. Pretty nice return, all things considered. Up past the 40-yard line. And this is going to be, might I say, an important drive for Chippewa Valley to come back and answer the bell one more time.
Right, and you don't have to hit, if you're Scott Merchant, you don't have to hit the panic button. You can still do what you do offensively with 48 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, and you can take a drive and mix it up, be balanced, go down the field. It's not like you're down 3 scores or 3 possessions. You have to just start throwing. So you can still do what you do. You just can't waste any more possessions. You have to put some points on the board.
Well, the one thing we want to keep in mind, we saw earlier in the quarter, the talented playmaker on the outside, Shamar Hurd, left the game with injury. So if he's unavailable, that takes away one of your big playmakers. I don't see number 11 on the field here on this drive. Play action, Schuster with time. The throwback got Hawkins. Hawkins past the 40, gain of 24-yard lines, fighting for yardage. And the Romeo defense, nice job to get in there and stop him right there.
Well, good job picking up pressure. They get some late pressure once again. coming up the middle by the Romeo defense, and that was Ian Antonelli. But Schuster stands in the pocket, delivers the ball, does a great job once again. You know,
Alex Angelo right there on the stop.
Yeah, Angelo on the stop, but good job by Schuster finding Darren Hawkins out of the backfield, leaks him out, gets him down the side.
So big play on first down. Now they hand the football off to Hawkins. He's been busy tonight, no question. And stopped by Victor Earl, the Swiss Army knife. So we'll see if Chippewa Valley decides to run another play here, if they'll let the third quarter come to a close. Looks like that will be that. And this, ladies and gentlemen, when you hold up the fours, throw them up at home. We got a heck of a game for you here on a Friday night. Chippewa Valley on the move. Rubes, you can put your hand down now. One more look at this one. Chippewa Valley. Can they punch it in one more time? Hawkins getting dirty. Down 11.
Welcome back to Romeo. Fourth quarter about to get going, and there's Chippewa Valley head coach Scott Merchant. A lot of good kids go through his program. One's even playing in the NFL. Let me tell you about cornerback Sean Murphy Bunting. He graduated from Chippewa Valley in 2015, went on to play at Central Michigan from 2015 to 18. He became a second-round draft pick in 2019 and was chosen by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And oh, by the way, the Bucs won the Super Bowl in 2021, so Sean's earned a little hardware already as a pro. He came home this summer to hold a free football camp back in his hometown, and how cool is this? Coach Merchant surprised him by formally retiring his #1 jersey at Chippewa Valley. No one will wear it again. You know, I know nothing can top getting a Super Bowl ring, but that's pretty special to have your hometown roots honor you like that. Guys?
That's what it's all about. To me, that's as good as it gets. And you had a chance to see this young man play football quite a bit.
I saw him for 4 years at Central Michigan, or 3 years. I'm so glad he's gone. I do radio for Eastern Michigan. Oh, my God. When you play them, their other corner, I can't think of his name, was really good, too. You basically just had to run the ball because they would just play zero, lock you up outside. Just tremendous talent.
Great honor for Murphy Bunting as Schuster back to pass. Oh, right at the boundary. And Kalen Shaw able to reel it in. Kalen missed 4 games with an injury. Now back to full speed. One of the captains for this Big Reds team as they start the first quarter with a positive play to move the sticks. They're inside the red zone, Rubes.
Yeah, Schuster's getting a lot of time. He's had a lot of time most of the evening, and he's good enough. You give that quarterback number 10 there, he's going to find the open receiver. He does that time, and they're knocking on the door of the Bulldogs. This is good for the defense as well of Chip Valley. Give them a little bit of a rust because Romeo's really put a couple good drives together here in the second half.
Schuster got 3 receivers here at the near side of the screen. Finds Kalen Shaw. What a stop. Shaw stays on his feet. Shaw still on his feet. No way. Kalen Shaw, the human joystick. I thought he was dead to rights. He spins out of it and finds his way into the end zone.
This is why you have to finish. You see right there, Pressel coming up. He's the first one. He misses it. Shaw keeps his balance, keeps his elbows and knees off the ground.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden, coming in to make the play was Lomacowski. He can't make it. He spins out of that, goes into the end zone. That's what you need. You want a spark plug, have a great individual effort by one player, will energize an entire team.
I mean, that's breaking tackles from 2 of the better senior linebackers for Romeo. You mentioned Lomacowski and Pressel. Kalen Shaw, the senior wide receiver, he is healthy and he is dangerous.
He took this from the jaws of defeat. It looks like it's going to be a negative plays. And the best player on the field for Romeo is number 30, Pressel. That's who he makes miss that first tackle. And then he just gets in a group of them. He spins out of it. He comes in and scores. And Shaw just with a tremendous effort. Schuster does a good job getting out quickly. You can't see this too many times. This would be on a lot of highlight films.
Oh, my mercy. Just to look at it again, that's going to be our Menards big money moment. Gotta be. Kalen Shaw, and now Chippewa Valley.
Now you go for 2. they're going to kick
seconds.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. They already kicked it.
Into
But
the
you're down 4. Sorry. Sorry. I watched a replay so many times, I forgot they kicked the extra point in the interim. I'm watching the replay for the 5th time.
I was trying to keep up. Ruth.
Yeah.
I know.
But this is a big stop. Behave. This is a big drive for for Romeo, because they got to possess the ball and do what they've done. Now, Chippewa Valley has not proven they can stop this offense of Romeo in the second half. They've had 2 really nice drives running the football with that inside-out game they've been doing.
Oh, Romeo's going to get a chance to return it. Pressel on the return, up past the 25. Pressel takes a shot and tiptoes up the sideline. That is a tough mother. Tyler Pressel. Let's go back to last year. A classic last September. Came down to a field goal with under 30 seconds to play. Romeo, Chip Valley. Through the uprights. Would you believe it? Chippewa Valley hangs on. And Romeo tasted defeat. They've been thinking about that one leading up to this football game. Hand off to Pressel. And Pressel this time stopped in his tracks. So they played some doozies over the last several years. Some single score outcomes. Last year, Chippewa Valley got the better of it. And now Romeo clinging to a 4-point advantage, but Chippewa Valley with the momentum.
Well, that's a better job against that jet sweep. Preston Roberts, the corner to that side. He's got to beat that receiver block quicker. Because if you don't beat quick enough and you're still on that block, it's creating that lane that they've exploited the whole night with the jet sweep. That time he was able to come off and get it for little or no gain.
There they show it again, but this time Roberson back to pass, slings it, and had Victor Earl, but underthrew his target. 3rd and 9.
We talk about execution, how Romeo in the first half struggled with some plays, missing some throws, dropping some balls, and then in the 3rd quarter they come out and they're flawless in their execution. Now they come in the 4th quarter, things get a little bit tighter, 21-17, and Roberson has a chance to get a nice chunk play to Victor Earl. He can't complete it, underthrows it.
The play calling has been spot on. It's been the execution for Romeo here.
Well, it's a 3rd and 9. We saw them last drive with a 3rd and 11 deep in their own territory. They ran that little quick hit trap inside. They were able to get 12 yards and move the chains.
Anthony Lomakowski lined up in the backfield. Pressel in motion. They give it to Lomakowski. Same play call that you just mentioned. This time, Chip Valley was ready for it. And that'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, fool me once, not going to fool me twice. Chip was ready for that fullback trap inside. Now they're going to force a punt. I'm assuming. I hate to assume anything with Kurt Ryan is, because I hate to play poker with him, because he totally would have cleaned me out this week after talking to him. I figured he's going to look like a MASH unit coming out here, and it'd be a 50-0 game. But obviously, he's a little bit better, healthier than he thought, and he's got some players.
And the punter is number 30. Always a threat. And ball is away. And it's going to take a Chippewa Valley bounce, and it's going to come to rest just inside the 30-yard line. We'll call it the 27-yard line. Chippewa Valley gets a stop on D. What can they do on offense? Back to Barnabo Stadium after this. Be sure to stay with us after the game for Football Fridays Overtime, powered by State Champs. Our Mickey York and Lauren Plant recap the best of the night around Michigan high school football. Plus we'll have post-game reaction from our game of the week at Romeo. That's immediately following the game of the week right here on Bally Sports Detroit. Football Fridays, as always, presented by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. It's going to be a good one cooking tonight. A lot of work goes into these Friday night shows.
Oh,
places buzzing around the building. Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable how fast that hour can go.
No, nothing like it. So appreciate everybody that put in the hard work to get ready for this show. Appreciate all the efforts of everybody to get this game on the air between Romeo and Chippewa Valley. I'll tell you what, and we have the game of the week every week, and this one certainly has not disappointed. Sometimes you get the hype building up to a game. You say, well, it should be a good game. Well, this one not only should be, but it is and has not disappointed. We'll see Chippewa Valley now. Again, didn't do much in the first half outside of that opening drive, but here in the second half, cooking with peanut oil. Schuster underneath had his man Kalen Shaw, who, as we saw, is an absolute playmaker. With his joystick move last time out to get in the end zone.
You just alluded to the fact that in the first half they struggled with the opening field goal drive. But look at the last two, 69, 57 yards respectively, 2 TDs. So they've got it figured out here late in the second half, and they got it rolling offensively.
Schuster with time. Schuster reaching back, looking for Kalen Shaw again. And good job in coverage, Ben Turner, the junior corner.
Yeah, Schuster's got, you can't get greedy as a quarterback. That was not there, it was covered. They actually had inside-out coverage because the corner was coming over the top to help. They ran a 3-tiered route. They had a flat route, they had a sail route, an intermediate, and then they had a deep go route. He threw the go. The sail looked like it was open, and the flat looked like it was open. Take the short route, take the sure yards, don't get greedy. Now you're in a 3rd and 10.
3rd and 10. Well, it was a quick 3 and out for Romeo last time they possessed the football, and now last thing Chippewa Valley wants to do is have to punt this football away back deep in its own territory.
13, Lanier is really bad. Although we've seen a little bit more of Shaw, but Lanier was their go-to guy early on in the game.
Yeah, Deshaun Lanier back to pass, and he finds Darren Hawkins right at the sticks. I do believe that's a first down, Chippewa Valley. Darren Hawkins. And it is a first down.
They use Hawkins differently. He's been a running back, but this time they're going empty. He is split wide to the right in the slot, and then he just runs a little quick out route. They clear first with the wide receiver, and then he just comes underneath it, well thrown. And they're once again, you said they're cooking with peanut oil, which I've never heard that.
Cooking with grease. I know you're such a health fanatic. I thought you would understand.
Yeah, look at me.
Ball.
Yeah.
Ball at the, you said it, man. Ball at the 33 now. Good play call on 3rd and long. Schuster with time. Now a little bit of late pressure. Dumps it off over the middle. And incomplete. Maybe threw it a little bit too low. He was looking for Stephen Boyd, his senior tight end.
Yeah, I don't want to say Chip has abandoned the run, but they've been pretty pass heavy in the second half. Now, obviously, they've seen some things down the field they like, but Schuster's got to get that ball. You know, when you got a tight end coming across like that in the open, you got to find him. You know, Stephen Boyd, by the way, great name, great linebacker for the Lions back in the 90s out of Boston College.
Spielman.
This Steve Boyd here would like to have his quarterback give him a little bit of opportunity to make that play.
That brings up 2nd and 10. Romeo initially showed blitz, and they swallowed up Darren Hawkins. Nowhere to go. He's going to lose yardage. So they went back to the run and probably should have thought better of it. Now 3rd and 12.
Well, good job by that front. Get a look inside. You see big number 63 getting in there, as well as Braden, number 43, Merjavani rather. He does a good job. That's the Russell we're talking about. I still got to finish that, or I did finish the story.
Yeah, the rest.
Okay, thank you.
That was Jake Murray. Who was also in there to provide pressure. 3rd and 12. Schuster tucks it. Schuster falling forward, going to be about 3 yards shy.
Wow.
Now
yeah. I know you're going.
Time.
Yeah, it is. What do you do here? He got enough. As a head coach, if he only gets 4 or 5 yards, you're going to punt it. But he's able to get 8 or 9, put you in a 4th and 3. You've had success. You might force Romeo into doing something they don't want to. Oh, he's got Merchant decides to punt. His defense is playing well enough.
The field.
But I thought he might come up and show it and force Romeo to maybe play some press coverage, come up and try to get over the top on him. Instead, he chooses to punt the ball or at least show it in this situation.
Well, remember, he's got one of the better punters. Again, you're on your side of the 50, probably the right call here. So 8.5 to play. Tarek Ahmed-Basic has the ability to boom these suckers, and he does so yet again. The senior, when called upon, does a job and muffed, but recovered by Romeo. Woo! Joey DeBaldo was the deep man. Hit him right in the chops. Luckily, able to corral it.
Yeah, he does the right thing. He makes a fair catch. Now, some coaches say inside the 10, put your heels, don't catch it. Others, now it's the 5. He hits it on about the 8-yard line, and he does a good job of getting on it and falling on it, but now it's going to put you behind. Lets the ball get into his body a little bit more than it should, but he's able to fall on it. And Romeo, if you're Romeo Bulldogs, you got to get a first down here. You got to try to flip the field.
Victor Earl on first down picks up about 3 yards. They've got to go 95 yards. Nursing a 4-point advantage. 8 minutes to play.
Yeah, Chip Valley opened this game up. I remember the 8-minute something odd drive where they were go down the field for a field goal. If you're Romeo in this situation, you nothing like better for Kurt Reines to get an 8-minute drive of your own here in this game with the ball in your hands. Now they had an inside-outside game going a little bit here, but you got to have a chunk play a little bit to kind of get them on their heels. Let's see if they can get a nice jet sweep going.
Roberson to Earl. Earl, nowhere to go. Falls forward to the 10-yard line. And again, in on the stop, A.J. Wright from his nose tackle position for Chippewa Valley.
Now 3rd and 5. We've seen them 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11. The previous 2 series, they ran that little fullback trap. The problem here is you see Chip Valley's loading up 7-8 in the box against this run right now. So maybe you see him with that play action where they show the jet or they show the buck sweep with all the linemen in play action off it and leak the back into the flat.
See A.J. Wright. That is a big boy. 3-year starter, mainstay on that line. Had 12 tackles from the D-tackle position against Stevenson. He's been a disruptive force all season long. And now on 3rd down, they roll him out of the pocket. Caught! First down. What a play. Jake Watson, the junior tight end. Big first down.
Well, Roberson's missed 2 or 3 of these throws during the course of this game. This one he makes a good one, and look at Preston Roberts, comes number 23 in white, almost gets that ball and rips it clean, but Roberson delivers the ball where it needs to be, to the outside, and Jake Watson's able to pull it in and move the sticks. That's a huge first down for the Bulldogs.
Huge first down, and hand off to Lomakowski, who picks up a couple. Clock continues to run. Still a lot of time left in this game. Chip Valley with 2 timeouts remaining. Romeo with all 3.
Now see if Romeo get back into that rhythm inside-out game. They just hit him with a little inside play. The buck sweep, the jet sweep, both have worked very well. This offense, they're not fancy. They run about 3 running plays. Well, that's the fullback trap as well. So they don't do a lot, but they do it well. And Kurt Reines does a really nice job of mixing it up, getting you on your heels, making you think outside, coming inside, making you think inside and going outside.
Yeah, definitely a tough offense to stop. A lot of plays out of the same look. Pressel around the right side, stays in bounds, picks up a couple. Right there, case in point.
Inside and outside. And now you get the defensive coordinator guessing here. You know, you think, well, they're going to come back to the inside. We have a 3rd down, I'm guessing 3 maybe to 4.
Maybe along 4. Here it is. Pressel in motion, they hand it off. Lomakowski leaning forward. I think he's got enough.
I think he's got it.
They come right back at you. Again, right back to the line of scrimmage. This is where all that off-season conditioning pays off, huh?
Yeah, you old enough to remember the old video game Pac-Man?
That's it.
That's what they're doing right now, that clock. They're just jump. Just
another first down. 2 3rd down conversions.
And once again, they went in, out, in. Let's see where they go here. The key to this right now is getting a good chunk on first down, getting positive yards, winning with a 3 to 4 yard play.
There it is, Pressel. Round the far side, Pressel. Whoa, spin move. But then brought down. Big hit from Chippewa Valley. That's Cameron Frazier, the middle backer.
You know, we have not called his name a ton tonight. I mean, he's one of the impact players that we're going to look to. And Cam Frazier just made a nice play there, but been a little bit quiet. So we saw him go inside, outside. If the way they've been going here, I'm going to say this is going to be an inside run at 2nd and 6.
That's Cam Frazier's first game back in 3 weeks. Had a bad bone bruise in his leg. One of the captains for Chippewa Valley. Big stop there. 4 yards on first down. Inside handoff. Lomakowski up near the sticks, going to be a yard shy. Another 3rd down for Romeo. 4 minutes remaining.
So where are they running here, in or out? You keeping track, in, out, or not?
Let's see.
If they keep track, it would be a jet, but with 2 yards, they might just sneak it. There you go.
And they do.
I kind of went Tony Romo on that one.
Picked it up by about 2 yards. Roberson.
When I say Tony Romo, I mean in a negative sense. I saw the play happening, so I said quarterback sneak.
Hey, fooled me, man.
Yeah.
So now what do you do?
Yeah, if you're Chip Valley right now, you got to be thinking a couple of things. One is we got to get a stop. We got to guess better, do whatever we're going to do with our front. And the other thing is, when do we start burning timeouts? We have only 2. They had to burn 1 earlier. They only have 2 timeouts remaining. And 1 more first down. This is high school football, Johnny. This is not college, the NFL. It takes a little bit to get down the field. Now, Chip does the advantage of they can throw the ball. They're comfortable throwing the ball. But 1 more timeout, if you do a 3-play first down for Romeo, it's going to be tough.
Roberson back to pass with a little screen coming back. Watson the tight end. And Watson going to be taken out of bounds after a gain of 9. So my question to you, partner, is
this is why I love coaches, and especially at the high school level, because they can impact a game. What a call. A little throwback one-man screen to find Watson on the backside when all you've done is run the entire drive except for the 1 little flare pass. And Roberson does a good job, gets it to him, and Watson tries to stay in bounds to his credit, but he gets dragged out, which will stop the clock. But still a great job. Positive yards. You got 9 yards on first down. You won first down. You're staying ahead of the chains. The way this offense is going, you're almost guaranteed to be able to pick it up here on 2nd and 1.
Inside give.
Ooh.
Oh! Ooh. Almost guaranteed. There are no guarantees in life, Rubes.
Well,
Lomacowski got stood up. A.J. Wright from the nose tackle position. Timeout, Chip Valley.
And that's what Chip needed, a 2nd and 1. Now they're probably looking at a 3rd and 3. I think that was about a 2-yard loss. I thought they were going to sneak it, because they had such success just coming up and sneak it at the 2nd and 1.
And now a message from the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Returning AZ Plan lessees can order an F-150 today and lease it for $299 a month for 24 months. Only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Think Ford first.
3 third downs, 3 third down conversions on this drive for Romeo. 3rd and 3, timeout Chip Valley. Tell me what the play call is. How do you stop it?
Here's what I'm thinking is if they hold true to form, it's been kind of an inside-outside type of deal. Well, they ran the inside the last play, and Anthony Wright got in there, and he stuffed it. So do you run the jet? So if I'm Chip, I'm also self-evaluating, say, what are they hurting us on? Well, coach, they're really going inside-outside, so maybe you look for the jet. How big are your how risky are you going to be here?
We saw the screen coming back to Jake Watson too, right?
But 3rd down and 3,
big play call.
And really start guessing ahead. What if you get 2 yards here?
Right.
You go Dan Campbell?
I love this game.
You kick the 54-yard field goal, or do you go for it?
Well, it looks like
I'm going to run a jet. I think that's been your bread and butter. Get outside. And I don't know, do you give it to Pressel's been really good, but Earl's been a little bit more physical? I don't know. That's a beautiful thing. You got a guy either side, so you can run it right or left. You're not one-handed on this.
Can I tell you what I'm thinking?
Yes.
Nobody ever asks.
Well, you are the play-by-play guy.
I go out here, I say you get the talons out, you've got 2 downs to pick up 3 yards. I'm looking at it as I'm going to Pressel and or Earl 2 plays in a row. No way I'm punting this football away. We're going to go find a way to win this football game at home. We're undermanned against Chip Valley. Punting it away and then hoping. The defense has been great, but I don't want to take it out of my offense's hands. So
I agree. That's not a bad thing. You can run. We're going to see Pressel come in motion if he gets it.
There it is, Pressel. And he is right there at the sticks. Well, let's see. Looks like the far line judge was coming in about a half-yard short. And now that's a first down. Scott Merchant, you can see head coach for Chippewa Valley up to the top of your television screen.
I think it's a good call. Our view here, Johnny, what we can see, it looked like his momentum had him almost to the yard mark or the 5-yard line, whatever, every 5 yards. So I think we're going to get a look here.
I think his disappointment was.
Let's take a look. It's where the ball is. He does a good job cutting it up.
So
he might be a half yard short of that, but all he needed to get to was the 46, and he got to about the 45 and a half. So I think it's a call. They might have given him a foot and a half extra, but it was a first down. And now you're going to see him just pound the football.
Just one Teddy ball game. There's the handoff. Palazzolo, and Chippewa Valley will take its final time out. 1:25 remaining. Romeo, another big third down conversion. They are this close to salting this one away.
They're going brown heavy wedge. Brown heavy wedge, no motion. Brown heavy wedge. Man, just keep them churning.
We'll take you inside the Romeo Bulldogs huddle right now. It's a game of math, and this one favors Romeo.
Yeah, you know, I was pretty good at arithmetic. Once I got to mathematics with algebra, I struggled. But arithmetic, I was good. Add and subtracted. There's a 40-second play clock. You run a play, you take a knee. Just take a knee, and you run another one, take a knee, the game's over. You don't have to hand the ball off. You should be in victory formation. Have your quarterback just go back about a yard or two, take a knee. Do not risk handing the ball off.
And under center. And just going straight forward on this sneak. Jayden Roberson. Clock continues to run. That brings up third down. Coach Rubick.
Yeah, there's a
Coach Reines.
Coach Reines. You.
Has the different.
I'm gonna have to give him a call tomorrow on the way.
Thought process.
Heading to Western Michigan. Say, Coach, you.
Coach, what I would have done here.
Yeah, no, you sandbag. That's all.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I'm really impressed with what we've seen from Romeo in this football game. Again, I've had a chance to call a couple of Chippewa Valley games over the last couple of years. They always bring it. A very well coached team. And again, came into this game, again, losing Shamar Hurd early in the third quarter. Their talented playmaker on the outside certainly hurt them. But they showed you with Kalen Shaw, Darren Hawkins, and Schuster slinging it back there. They've got some horses, but what a credit to what Romeo was able to do. And certainly their quarterback, Jayden Roberson. And I don't know if you can say enough about what we saw from Tyler Pressel with 3 touchdowns on the night, all 3 of them. So timeout. Romeo now can sense what's to come, and that is the victory formation. Hey, time now for tonight's player of the game, brought to you by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Who else? Take it away, Rubes.
Well, it starts out early with the jet sweep action. He does a nice job of stair-stepping it, going in and bouncing back to the outside. Tyler Pressel was everywhere on offense, on defense. He's going to get these 3 touchdowns. Here's the second of his 3, and he does a good job. Oh, I'm sorry, that's just a nice run by him. But here's the second one, to catch. Well-thrown ball by Roberson. Look at how he opens his body. That's not easy, Johnny, to open your hips up, turn back, attack the ball. He does it there. Defensively, he's all over the field, making big physical hits. We saw him come up there on that screen, and then on the goal line here, he comes up and just drills the receiver. He was everywhere on both sides of the football. This is the easiest I think I've ever had, but I had to pick the player of the game, picking Tyler Pressel. He was a full-grown man the entire night.
We talk about this team as they go into the victory formation and take a knee. Tyler Pressel suffered a concussion in week 3, missed the 3 following weeks after that. And last week was his first game back, made his presence felt, and obviously made his presence felt here tonight as Romeo trying to make a little late season push. Just the 2 losses on the season, both coming in league play.
Yeah, and with their schedule, with their conference, with all the wins the teams they play have, they could win 5 games and still get into the playoffs.
An impressive performance at home at Barnabo Field. Romeo gets it done over Chippewa Valley. Our final score, our Football Friday game of the week, 21-17. Don't go anywhere. Our Football Fridays coverage continues right now. Mickey York and Lauren Plant. It's our high school football overtime show powered by State Champs. Take it away, boys.
Johnny, thank you very much. Coming up on the OT, a big upset in the top 20 tonight as Bedford puts up one of the best defensive efforts we've seen this season. A MAC Red champion has been crowned, and it's a team that hasn't won it outright in a while. And we are all over the state to bring you some of the best plays this Friday night had to offer. Football Fridays Overtime, powered by State Champs, is coming your way next.